Hello.
Yes, we are here once again for the next episode of A Conversation with Kely. Big Brother 25 still going on. Yes, we know we're 2 weeks behind, and I feel like it's pretty safe to say with this season, when you're 2 weeks behind, it feels like you missed like a month because there is a lot to really get into, and we'll talk about all of it. But before we do, I am here, my lovely Moonves co-host Allie. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, just enjoying a day off. I took Magoo for a walk earlier, and just chatted with Regan on FaceTime earlier. Shout out to her, and and also did an exit interview for the org I just got eliminated from, and just watched some shows today, and yeah, just chilled and yeah.
We love the interview, but we don't love the fact that you were eliminated for said interview to happen. That was not that was not part of the plan. That is not what was supposed to happen. In all seriousness, I haven't done too much today. Woke up way too late as usual on Tuesdays. That's always fun. But watch the latest episode of, well, not the latest episode, but the episode we had to watch in order to do this podcast. And other than that, I haven't really done too much. I'm just excited to finally talk about this because I feel like at this point, it's like there's so much that's happened. It's like, oh my God, this happened 2 weeks ago. Why are we still talking about this? But
you know what?
Yeah. I mean, really, it's just I don't want what happened in past seasons to happen here. I want us to try to stay as consistent as we possibly can. So it's like, I think we might as well just talk about these 2 weeks, which, Allie, it's been a little bit since we talked about.
We were supposed to get a guest today, but she's just stuff came up with her, so we'll probably get her for another episode.
And honestly, it's fine that we don't, because I think she'd probably rather talk about stuff that's going on now as opposed to stuff that went on 2 weeks ago. So anyway, it's been a little bit since we talked about this season of Big Brother. What are you thinking of it so far overall?
I mean, I still think it's insane. It's wild. This cast is they never stop. They are always playing, but I don't like the unanimous votes just because it's just boring. I want somebody to throw some hinky votes. That'd be nice. But overall, it's still a really great season.
Yeah, I think right now for me, I think people are starting to get a little bored with this season, and that's perfectly understandable. There hasn't been a lot of there were two sides in the beginning, but since Reilly's left, it's really just been one side pretty much dominating, and anyone who's opposing to them isn't really willing to do anything. And I can totally understand why people do find it boring. To me, though, the players that are the most interesting are the ones that are currently dominating. So I don't really have a problem with the fact that they're the ones in power. I'm just hoping once we get to jury, things really start to ratchet up, because it is starting to get just a little bit repetitive in that way. But I do think there is still enough going on here to still get excited about. I'm very excited to talk about these 2 weeks. The way we're going to do this is, so we have 6 episodes to talk about. So basically, because the fact that we have a lot to talk about here, I'm going to talk about one episode, Allie's going to talk about the next one, then I'll talk about the next one, and so on and so forth. Obviously, we'll both chime in and say what we want to say, but the person who's reading the notes, it will be done that way. So we're going to go ahead and start off with probably, I don't know what's been going on, to be honest with you, with the Sunday episodes of this season, but it just feels like they are easily the most disposable. You can miss Sunday and you'll honestly be fine, because there just isn't a lot to talk about. And I think this first episode we're talking about is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, definitely. The episodes have been very hit or miss. Some are really good. Some are just
Yeah, agreed. I just think that, I just think that, and I will say, I think that problem is less of one in some of the episodes we're talking about, but then there's some others where it's they're just not really doing much. So, it's kind of 50-50 when it comes to season. It's weird because I feel like last season, was really hard at points to watch, but I feel like aside from a couple things, they did a pretty good job of like keeping it interesting episode wise. And I just don't feel like you can say that for this season. Again, it feels like you're missing so much not watching the feeds and things like that. And there are actually some things that they didn't talk about specifically in this week that we are going to go over. But without further ado, we have a lot to talk about. So Allie, just go ahead.
All right. So I will be starting with episode 8.
Yes.
Okay. Hisam says his HOH ended and he feels like it was a great success, and he thinks America, not the player, will feel that way too. I put that in parentheses. I put not the player just because like it's really funny.
Amazing.
Because he doesn't even like work with her. So I mean,
yeah.
Cirie says her original thought was to keep Reilly, but everything changed for her when Cameron spoke to her and Izzy and said he wants to go after Hisam.
Yeah, like I said, this feels like a millennium ago that this happened. But, literally, you know.
Like, these people have literally been playing like it's like jury since the beginning.
Yeah.
We get a flashback of Cameron telling Cirie and Izzy that he doesn't want Hisam anywhere around here because he's doing nothing but driving a wedge in the unity that he preaches. And Cirie and Izzy agree with him. Cameron says it's the most vulnerable he's going to be and that they know what needs to be done next week. And he tells them to put his ass up when the time comes. And if he won it, that's exactly what he'd do.
Yeah, I mean, Cameron is just not playing well here at all. You know, we'll get into it more, but Cameron has just gone from somebody who's just really fucking creepy, and he still is, but he's also so incredibly delusional. He thinks so much is like his doing when it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and it's honestly pretty comical to watch that he thinks this.
Oh, definitely. Like, he's like the main person I just do not like. Like, pre-season, like yeah, Jared does. I don't like a lot of things Jared says, but like Cameron is just odd.
Yeah.
And creepy.
Yeah, and
like,
just very
he was literally like, we were so wrong about him. We thought he was going to be all nice at the beginning, and nope.
I just don't even know.
Yeah.
Like, you're on a show, you're trying to like set an example for like your daughter and things like that, and like this is the way you decide to play I just don't understand it.
Yeah, literally.
It's the worst.
Cirie says this is the best possible outcome. They have someone to go after Hisam, and her hands stay clean. And the person going after him will become the next largest threat, and she can just sit back and watch it all unfold.
Mm-hmm.
True.
She should.
Cameron says it's been a day already. He's feeling conflicted. The joy of being there is going to override it. But when he saw Reilly's picture go gray, he teared up a little bit. However, that sadness has quickly turned into passion. They're going to come out the gate, busting, hollering, and hooping. It's time to play the game. Public enemy number 1 is Hisam.
I can't fucking stand his confessionals. They're so bad.
They're so annoying. Hisam hugs Cameron and tells him he knows it's not easy. Jag tells Blue he has no idea what's happening in the house anymore, which she agrees, and he tells her they have to win, which she also agrees. Blue says it really sucked to see a really good friend and strong competitor leave so early, especially because the person who sent her home has been manipulative. Jag just says he doesn't even know. He feels heartbroken and mad that he couldn't do more to save Reilly. Right before the vote, they realize the house isn't on Reilly's side.
I mean, yeah, like I said, Jag definitely should have done more to save Reilly. He's another person that, like, love watching him, but he's been very disappointing, I think, in terms of gameplay.
As a player, yeah, like, he just doesn't do as much as he should.
Yeah.
As a person, he's amazing.
Oh, yeah, especially compared to the majority of the men in the house.
Yeah, literally.
Jag is much better.
Like, him and Cory are, like, the only, like, nice guys.
Yeah.
We get a flashback to an hour before eviction where Jag is talking to Matt, Blue, Reilly, and Jared that they don't have the votes, and Reilly tells them to vote with the house.
Yeah, so that's basically what happened in terms of the flip. That's why the flip didn't go through.
Yeah, she just didn't want them to, like, ruin their games for her.
Yeah.
Jag says she was his ride or die, and their plan was to go all the way to the end together. But for this HOH, he's really only going to feel safe if he wins or if Matt or Blue win. Also, Matt's another one lately who's been very disappointing with comments.
Agreed. Like I really liked Matt the first couple weeks of this game, but he's just been, I don't know what happened. Like I think his true colors are really showing.
And he said something like really bad like recently that yikes.
Yeah.
Like I thought he was going to be one of the nice wholesome guys too, but I guess not.
No.
Yeah.
And internal misogyny is a thing, and we are experiencing it firsthand in this cast.
Oh, definitely. Be more like Jag and Cory.
Yes. Call that shit out when you see it.
Jag tells Blue they got to focus on winning and then focus on everything else afterwards, which she hugs him and tells him they got this. Jared, Jag, and Blue are comforting Matt, who is tearing up because of losing Reilly. Matt tells them it's Big Brother, they gotta play the game. He tells them she knows how to talk to him about everything, it's just hard. Matt says he's pretty upset because they were close. Not having someone there every night just to hang out and chill, he's absolutely gonna miss those moments with her, and he definitely has some feelings for her. We get a flashback
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, you say it first.
No, because the next note pretty much is what I'm going to say.
Oh, okay. We get a flashback of Matt telling Reilly he finds her really attractive and he's got a little crush on her, and then she hugs him and tells him thanks for fighting with her, which she says he's got her back. Matt says he would have liked to have her in the house longer to see where it would end up, but if he wants HOH, he wants to win HOH this week to get revenge on Hisam and avenge Reilly.
Listen, at first I thought this was like, okay, I get it. Reilly was like really nice to Matt and he's really going to miss her because of it. And now it's just like borderline obsession. Like the way he still is talking about Reilly in week 5 currently, there's like a whole thing where they want to make an alliance and he still wants to call it like Reilly's promise or something like that.
I know.
Like, just get over it. Like she literally said she liked you that way.
Reilly's promise gives me like some kind of Hallmark name vibes.
Literally, it does sound like that.
Sure, what are you doing?
I get it. He liked Reilly, but I just feel like he needs to move on at this point. Like this is starting to get a little much.
Definitely.
And also, like, Reilly promised you nothing. Like, you guys are hopefully gonna be friends, but like, she's gone. Like, you gotta move on with the game.
Definitely. Like, just move on. It's a game. Just play the game.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I'm kind of glad Reilly left when she did, because the way the men have been talking, I don't know what would have happened, but I feel like she probably would have gotten caught in the crosshairs somehow.
Oh, definitely. Jag tells Matt he's got him since day 1, and then it's time for the HOH competition. Cameron says Hisam's a tire, takes him back. He feels like he's homesick from school and ate his bowl of soup, and it's time for the game shows to start their fun, and only the Humiliverse knows about what's about to happen. I don't know why I wrote that.
Remind me to just delete any confessional that Cameron says, because they are insufferable.
They're so frustrating. I'm like, really, sir? For this competition, winning brings them power and humiliating consequences. One at a time, they'll step up and take a shot down the snotty slope. Ugh, gross. Ugh, I hated this comp. The snot slots at the bottom are numbered 1 through 55. The house guest with the highest score after everyone has taken their shot will become the new HOH, and the players with the 2 lowest scores will be the have-nots for the week. This was such a disgusting comp. Like, what is with people and like butts and snot and shit?
This felt like something I'd see on like a Nickelodeon game show. Like, I don't know what they were thinking, honestly, when it comes to this. Instead
of getting slime, they're getting snotted. Ugh.
I mean, it probably was slime that they probably dumped on their heads. But it was just not really a comp. It wasn't a comp that was like already appealing, but it certainly was not a comp we need to spend as much time on as we did. Like, similar to the last episode, the majority of this episode is this comp. So
literally this comp is basically a crapshoot. They just have to get the highest score.
Yeah. Well, the thing about this comp is that this is usually the kind of comp that they would show like on the Thursday episode, where it's like, stand up and take your shot. It usually goes pretty quickly. So I don't understand why they didn't just show this on the episode. I feel like they could have just shown the aftermath of like Reilly's eviction and then show who wins HOH like after. Like, I don't understand why they didn't just show this on the Thursday episode, because I don't think this was a good enough comp to like have on a Sunday episode. Like I was honestly kind of scratching my head as to like why it took so long.
Oh, same. It took like way too long. Hisam says while he can't play this comp, he's rooting for the professors because he'll be safe this week if one of them wins. Little does he know, which I also put in parentheses.
Yeah. Hisam is none the wiser this entire week.
I will say I don't even dislike Hisam. He's a good villain. I just think he is very condescending and cocky.
I appreciate the fact that he at least owns it. You know, like
he definitely owns it, which is good. It's just sometimes he can be a little much.
I'd much rather have a villain that like recognizes that they come off that way than someone who's like, I'm not that way, you know? Like that's way more likable to me. So.
Exactly. Matt, Mecole, Izzy, and Cameron really want HOH, but Cory and Cirie absolutely do not. I only wrote kind of like on this part, I kind of just wrote was like what was important. Felicia definitely wants it so people can stop looking at her like she's not a participating player on the team, and since she's just as valuable as everybody else in her alliance. Queen. Jag is worried that Felicia wouldn't target Hisam since they're both on the same side of the house, and he feels like he could very well be the next person to go, and Blue really wants HOH because she doesn't want to lose another number since she already lost her bestie. Also, Jared is very competitive, so coming in second isn't good enough for him, and being that close to victory last week puts a different kind of fire under you. So, with a score of 53, Felicia is the new HOH, who is very excited she got the key.
Oh my god, this was so great to see. Like, I was so great, like, waiting to see who won HOH, and then people, like, jokingly saying, oh my god, Cirie got it, and then actually seeing the Felicia win HOH, I was like, let's go. Like, this is so exciting.
I know. I love her
and
so much.
I believe she is the now oldest house guest to win to actually like win a comp for HOH, because people brought up Jerry, but from what I understand, that was like they chose Jerry to win HOH. This time she actually like won a comp to get HOH. So great, good for her. Not only did she absolutely kill this comp, but she's also now the oldest house guest to win a comp and win HOH. So
it's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Felicia says all along to not count her out. It's all about the 63-year-old. Hell yeah.
Period. As you should.
Right?
Don't.
What?
Don't sleep on Felicia.
No, don't. Because she's
even though she might be in trouble soon, but don't sleep on Felicia.
Spoiler alert, yeah, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Hisam is so happy because the professors are fully in control and he's safe and they're good. What is that echo?
What echo?
Oh, sorry. Now it's gone. Okay. Because of Red in America scoring a 5 and Matt scoring a 10, they'll be the have-nots for the week. Red in America getting a 5 was so funny.
That was funny.
I'm just like,
wow, a 5.
Oh my god. Felicia will be getting a humiliating reward, which is where she'll have to come to the yard whenever the Humiliverse calls her and stand under one of the giant noses for a good old-fashioned snotting. The good news is she won't be doing it alone, and each time she's called, she'll have to choose a different house guest to join her. This was disgusting.
Okay, listen, normally I would fucking hate something like this, but just because it was Felicia, I thought this was actually really fun to watch.
Oh, it was so funny to watch, but it was also gross.
Oh, it was.
She starts out by choosing Bowie.
Bowie, I forget his there.
Fucking Bowie Jane.
Yes.
Bowie says Felicia picks her to get snotted with her, which isn't snot fair. I put it on quotes because that's what she said. Felicia is super excited to have won HOH. She was on the block in week 1 and week 3 she's HOH, which doesn't get better than that. And she jokes that she should have put lipstick on. That was funny. Izzy and Felicia are celebrating, and Izzy says she's so happy for her. And then Matt and Blue discuss the comp a bit. Blue is upset she lost. She doesn't know what to do anymore. It's been a day. Hisam tells Izzy, Cirie, and Bowie that he looked at their faces and they were shocked and upset. And Cirie says, count the old bitches out. Hisam tells them he couldn't have been more thrilled. I mean, little does he know. Literally everything he says this round of feeling like good, I'm like, little does he know.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what's always exciting to watch when it's like blindsides. It's like, they're none the wiser the entire week. And
Like,
this one is like an actual like blindside. Like let's let's make sure we actually this is a correct by Big Brother terms blindside. He wasn't chosen to play in veto or anything. So
yeah. Hisam says he doesn't have anything to worry about with Felicia winning. Felicia, oops. He knows he's not going to be a nom or pawn, and he knows he's moving to week four, which feels amazing. America talks to Matt, that she knows they've had a rough day, but she thinks they're good this week, which he agrees. He tells her he's not mad at anyone or anything. He just wanted more time with Reilly, which she tells him she'll be there. And she tells him not to cry and hugs him and tells him he's very sweet. She says they're all going to miss her, which he says he's glad he got to say bye.
Come back to this in a little bit later when Matt is like talking shit about America. Like she's literally here to like console him, to like make sure he's okay, and he has the audacity to like shit on her. Like, stop.
Yeah, he's just being very hypocritical.
Oh yeah.
Matt says today isn't his day. He lost his biggest ally in the HOH comp. He's not 100% sure where he stands with Felicia. Izzy tells Cirie they got to talk to Felicia tonight, and they're doing this thing. She asks Cirie if Felicia's gonna be down to backdoor him this week, in which Cirie says she better. So Cirie says she should put up Cameron as a pawn, which Izzy agrees with. And then Izzy says either blue or drag next to him, and Cirie says Cameron will fight like hell, and if he comes down, they put up Hisam.
Yeah.
Izzy says the plan isn't to nominate Hisam right off the bat, so he's not guaranteed to play in the veto comp. Therefore, he wouldn't have a chance to save himself. So she waves bye to him, and Cirie says Hisam shouldn't be worried at all about being nominated because he may need to worry about being backdoored, which she giggles. They don't want Hisam worried about anything. Cirie hugs Felicia and tells her she had to keep herself under control and not scream too loud. Cirie tells her it's her HOH, but her and Izzy were just shooting out that she should put up Cameron since he'll fight like hell to win a veto, and if he comes down with the veto, which Felicia says Hisam would go up. Cirie tells her they want somebody to play for the veto, and it's not going to be somebody who won't be fighting for their life like Cameron, and she says they might not get another shot at Hisam, which Izzy says is a winning move. I mean, it's definitely a good move, but not for them.
Yeah, I think that this is something where, like, I understand why they wanted to do it. I just feel like when it comes to Hisam, like, they should have let somebody else get that blood on their hands.
Yeah.
Like, kind of, they could have easily gone for, like, a Cameron this week or something like that. I think Cameron and Red should have been, like, their, like, ideal nominees here, because I think that...
Yeah. Because Hisam had their back. Like, I get, obviously, he kind of screwed himself with things he said and did. Mm-hmm. But, like, they should have just had, like, someone else on the other side win.
Yeah, they really should have.
Yeah, or just go for Cameron and Red.
Take away from, like, how good Felicia handles her HOH this week. I just feel like her wanting to target Hisam was not the right move.
No, not at all.
Not this quickly.
No. At least, like, for them, wait till jury.
Yeah.
Cirie says Felicia winning HOH is the perfect outcome for their situation. They've had their eye on Hisam for a while now, and now they can take a swing at him.
Well, to what you said about jury, the reason why I don't think they were going to wait till jury is because they kept saying they were worried that Hisam would be a bitter juror.
So yeah.
On jury.
I remember that now. That's true. I could see him being bitter. It'd be interesting.
I think he definitely would have been, because, I mean, the way he was towards Reilly, like, really rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and they're like, we can't have this guy on jury. So I don't really blame them.
Definitely. Felicia says she's going to consider whether she wants to backdoor Hisam, because as much as she loves him, he's created a lot of chaos. Getting him out would be a huge boost for her game, but now she really has to play a careful game, because the last 2 weeks, the HOH, that position came back to bite them. Now she's going to ask herself if she wants to play for the house, and if it's a good move for her, she's going to sit up there and rest and get up in her own head and figure out what's the best strategy for her. Felicia then picks Blue to join her in the getting snotted. Blue says if she's going to have snot pouring all over her, she might as well strike some poses, which honestly, that was funny. Like, Blue honestly kills me.
She's alright.
She just needs to get away from Jared. Also,
yeah, I think I'd like her more if she wasn't constantly with Jared. Oh, that's interesting.
Kirsten and Reilly did an Instagram live together last night. Oh, cool. I'm glad they're still friends.
Yeah.
I hope they're well. Love them.
Yes.
Felicia says
not
she doesn't know
players, but yes, love them as personalities.
Oh, definitely. They're definitely not made for Big Brother, but maybe they'll get a second chance. Who knows?
Yeah.
Felicia says she doesn't know how many more times she's going to have to do this in the next 24 hours because it's so goopy and slimy and cold and nasty. But then she chooses Izzy next. Red says the best part is watching Miss Felicia get slammed. She's looking slicker than snot on a doorknob.
I can't. I
have to talk in his accent a lot whenever I say his confessionals, just because they're so like.
They want so badly for Red to be like the southern hillbilly, and he's like falling right into their trap. And honestly, based on the way he talks, even not in the diary room, I feel like a lot of it's not even scripted. I feel like this is just him naturally saying these things.
Probably. Jared is the next person she chooses, which Cirie is thinking, better him than her, and that he's a strapping young man, and sliming to him is nothing, and she's near a senior citizen. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
She then gets announcements so early in the morning for the next one. Felicia says this is crazy because it's 3 a.m. The good part is that every time she gets up, everybody else has to as well.
Yeah, they spend a lot of time on this.
I know. I will say it is funny, though, just because it is Felicia.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because it's Felicia, but it's also are we really going to spend half the episode on this?
It's very pointless.
Yeah.
She then chooses Jag next, who isn't thrilled at all. Felicia thinks this is crazy. She doesn't even have a tooth in her mouth, which is honestly pretty funny.
That was funny.
She just kills me.
That's a great, out of context confessional.
Oh, I know. She's so cracked. She chooses Matt next, which Izzy is in awe of how he looked. Oh my god, actually that was funny how Izzy was just flirting with him.
Yeah, it was funny.
Hisam is chosen next, who is very disgusted and feels it's unfair. Of course he would. He would think that.
Oh yeah.
Felicia doesn't want to get slimed anymore because she's running out of towels and body wash, and she tells Julie.
Who are you, Matt? When he called Julie Julia?
Oh my god. She tells Julia that she came on the show because she wants to be Fly and see her, and this is how she's seeing her. She's so over that. Hisam then talks to Felicia that he's so comfortable with her being HOH and asks if she knows who she's putting up. She tells him she's still debating, but he interrupts her and says he wants to drag out because he was close with Reilly. She tells him she was thinking about Cameron because he'd be strong, and Hisam says Cameron is the safest choice, but maybe not this week. Honestly, I guess Kevin is talking to his parents, maybe? Anyway, I'll just continue when he's back. But yeah, so far, yeah. I feel like with Hisam, I don't really like when he just interrupts her like that. Because he's always he just wants everything to be his way. I mean, yeah, such a villain, great villain, and he owns it, of course. But just certain things, he just needs to tone it down because he really, yeah, interrupting is not good. And also, how's everyone? We have 4 viewers currently. Love you all. We are very appreciative of you guys, and thank you so much for tuning in. We love you guys so much. On the feeds right now, Matt just got caught quoting Andrew Tate in the backyard. Yeah, that's what I was trying to that was what I was sort of hinting at earlier, where he said something really bad. Yeah, it was terrible. And it seemed like when he was talking to Jag about it, like Jag did not seem thrilled. Because I remember, like, he said he was like, oh, like, he was probably like shocked that he quoted that because that's bad. So yeah, Matt's done a lot of questionable things these days. He's been saying a lot of problematic and bad things. Like, we thought he was like sweet and nice at first, but then his true colors came out. But yeah, Kevin's probably will be back shortly. I'll continue when Kevin's back. We have so many pages of notes because there's 6 episodes. But yeah, but at least then week 5 we just cover just that week and so on, because we just got so busy and stuff. We couldn't do like week 3 and 4 together or by itself. So we're just doing them together, which is totally fine. We've done that before. We've done like 2 weeks before and such. He'll be back soon. But yeah, I've had so much fun like with this season. Like, I love covering it, and it's just been like such a good season to watch. Obviously some of the episodes aren't great. Some are great, some are not. Some are just have a lot of filler and shit. But overall it's been like so entertaining. I just wish there's no more unanimous votes. Oh, also, another thing, if anyone wants to ever be a guest on this podcast, just hit us up. Because we love hearing anyone's perspectives on things and everything. So just hit us up if you ever want to be a guest and talk about anything. Yeah, he's probably just talking to like his parents or something. But he'll be back soon. It's not like we really have any like plans so far as of right now, besides just watching stuff and everything. So we're pretty much just free today. So yeah. But I'll be on the next page shortly once I continue. Because we always write down like everything like that's important stuff about each episode. Well, mainly everything, unless it's just like completely pointless. But we always read the notes and we just read off the Google Docs.
All right, I'm back.
All right. Let's continue. Felicia says, even when Hisam's trying to be subtle, he's very assertive, aggressive, and pushy. He's been kind of walking around acting like he's a king and really running this house, which is true.
Oh, yeah.
And she says, when you're talking to Hisam, you have to make him believe that he's the mastermind. Hisam tells her Jag is aligned with Matt and Blue, and if they leave Matt off the block, then if he gets picked for veto, he will take Jag down if he wins. And if Jag is a target, putting Matt next to him prevents Matt from ever using the veto because he'd have to save himself. And he also tells her if she's really set on Jag going home, Matt is going next to him, makes it the highest likelihood that Jag would be stuck. He tells her they all want Jag out, but whatever she decides, they're all behind her 100%. Hisam says he's basically offering his calculation. He knows she'll make a smart choice that will further the professors in this game.
I don't know why we have so many notes for this episode. This is like easily the most uneventful of all of them.
I know. Felicia says you want Jag to go up. Absolutely. She agrees with him there, so he thinks. They need Hisam to be so comfortable, and this week he doesn't even realize a blindside is coming until he's actually been blindsided. She says she's sorry because she loves him, but it's really his time to go. Jag says him and Blue are kind of vibing a little bit, but he can't see himself showmancing just yet. And then we get a segment of them flirting. Wonderful.
Yeah,
Blue
you
says,
don't have to read that.
It's almost done. Blue says she's flirting with Jared and she thinks he's catching on. He's a really cool guy and she likes hanging around with him and he's really cute, blah, blah, blah. whatever.
Yeah, the way they are portraying it in the show could not be further from what's actually happening. It's really just Jared and Blue are horny for each other, and now they're just in a showmance. Like, that's literally all it is.
Ugh, yeah.
And Jared's also very, just, like, condescending towards her, and Blue's fine with it, I guess.
I mean, she did say she likes toxicity, but she needs to get rid of him.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but, like, if someone is so obsessed with your body count, that's a red flag. Like, no.
Exactly. Jared says sometimes just looking into those eyes, he's got to remember he's here for the game and not for that. Anyway, moving on.
I'm really just not here for the way the show is editing Jared. Like, I know why they're doing it. They want us to like Jared just as much as we like Cirie, but the problem is, like, Jared just isn't a likable person. He's not someone I like to watch. Like, I just find him
He says a lot of shitty things.
I just find him to be worse by the minute, to be honest with you. So, like, I just wish I understand why the show is doing it, and I'm not necessarily going to fault them for it, because it's kind of hard to, because there are people on Twitter who are like, well, how can I root for Cirie when her son is like this? And yeah. I don't really understand that. They're two different people. What Jared does is not necessarily on Cirie. That's what he chooses to do. But, like, the way the show is editing him, I just don't want to talk about it much. It's not accurate at all.
Agreed. Jag checks in with Felicia about what she's thinking. She tells him the goal is Hisam, but she never put him up, because then he'll know they're trying to get him up. So he has to be backdoored because they don't want him to play the power veto. And she tells him she needs him to be a pawn for her, him and Cameron. So she tells him that him and Cam are very good candidates for winning veto, and they're not her target. Hisam is the target for the house, but Jag asks her what would happen if Hisam wins veto and takes Cameron down. She tells him he's not going to do that.
Yeah, Jag I don't think there's any scenario where Hisam would have actually done that. So
no, I don't think so either. Jag says rule number 1 for anyone that knows about Big Brother is that pawns go home. Being stuck on the block and not having Hisam next to him is a terrible position for him to be in, and hopefully everything goes as planned, and come eviction night, Hisam will be out there talking to Julie.
And that's great, but, like, something the show does not show, and something the Jags really struggle with, he doesn't campaign for himself, like, at all here.
Not really, no. Jag asks about Cory, America, or other folks, which Felicia says it's going to be a red flag to Hisam, and she needs him to be comfortable. Felicia knows Jag isn't happy, and nobody wants to sit on the block. But if Hisam gets picked and wins veto, then Cameron or Jag will have to go. Jag tells Felicia he's going to play it cool, and he knows whatever happens, whatever twists, they'll be able to figure it out, and they'll be able to work together. And Felicia thinks this is a great plan. Okay, I will say this is actually a good moment, but this is like, but now what Matt says, after this is such a good moment for him, but now it's just hard to root for him because of things he said.
Oh, I'm still here. You don't have to stop just because I'm not here.
Oh, what are you doing?
My camera's off.
Okay.
You can. We kind of have to continue this. Like, there's a lot to get through here, and we're still only on one episode. We're still only on the Sunday episode.
It's okay. Matt tells Cirie and Izzy he doesn't think there's ever been a deaf person on Big Brother. He says at first it was really hard to talk to them, and he's an athlete, but his biggest struggle is that everyone thinks he's like a big douchebag. And he says the reason why he seems like a douchebag is he can't hear. It's not because he's ignoring people. And Izzy tells them her first impression of him was that he's not a douche. Her first impression was he's really sweet, seemed really sweet, but quite reserved. And then he tells her he's not reserved at all, but just in the beginning because he's observing and getting comfortable. He says people just assume first impression, like he doesn't want to talk. It's not because he thinks he's too cool. It's because he can't hear. He says he's very good at one-on-one, like in small group combos, but very bad at big groups. He lets them know when all these people are talking, you're trying to listen, and then you hear half the sentence and you're trying to make out of it. And it's already moving so fast, so you don't know what the next step is, and you're lost. Cirie tells them this is a whole new understanding that he's just given her because she didn't even consider all of that. Like, it's so much more that they don't realize. And he tells them when he was growing up, he was not accepting that he's deaf. And he's different than everyone else. But once he got over that, his confidence went up and swimming got better. And he wants to constantly prove the barrier of what you can do. He says he has something that's holding him back, but he's not going to let it because of his disability. And it makes him even more caring of a person because he's had problems and struggles growing up. So he can relate to other people when they have issues. And Cirie says she feels she just had a whole learning experience, which she appreciates.
Yeah, I like this segment a lot. I thought it was
Me
really
too.
good for Matt. I think it's good that they actually showed this. I believe this conversation happened in like the first week, which is kind of weird that they're just showing this now. But I thought it was still pretty effective. And yeah, it was definitely a really good segment for Matt. I think especially after how Prod has, you know, the lack of accommodations they've made for him. Like, I think that this was a good segment to show. It doesn't at all, you know, absolve them of what they did, but I think this definitely was a really good segment.
Yeah, this was actually a good segment for him, but obviously now that we know he said a lot of like shitty things, it's hard to like root for him.
Yeah, this especially is like.
Oh yeah, I talked about that when you were gone.
Yeah, nobody should be like nobody should be like unironically quoting that man. Like, I'll just leave it at that.
No. Matt says it felt really good to talk to Izzy and Cirie about the struggles, letting them know what's been going on, and he says the best part is sharing that disability side of the world that a lot of people don't see. Cirie says she's 53 years old and she can't remember if she's ever closely encountered a deaf person, so Matt is really educating her on how the world is to him, and it tells her so much more about him. All right, Felicia talks to Cameron and that he knows who the target is this week, which her goal is Hisam, but they got to backdoor him. She says they can't allow him to play the veto and win, and tells him she needs him to trust her and she wants him to be the one to win the veto since she figures he has the best chance of winning and removing himself, and then they'll backdoor his ass and blow him up. Cameron tells her he had a feeling there was a possibility he could go back to back, but he didn't want it to be true. She tells him she sees the disappointment in his face, which she says he's willing to do whatever needed to be done, but thinks if he goes up, he'll be like, I wonder why, like it would make him uneasy. He says he's just afraid if he's going to throw up some balls because it's going to be the exact same look that when Hisam put him up, and says Hisam is smart, which she agrees. Cameron tells her he's very tempted to get him in the veto, but he tells her he trusts what she does. He knows he's going to go boot Spidey senses, which they say he's going to go at the veto harder than ever before, and he's going to have a personal vendetta, and they can't have that. Where's it? Oh, there. Felicia says she'll weigh the pros and cons and consider some other options, but by putting Cameron on the block, even if Hisam gets picked, they have a random draw, and there's a good chance that Cameron can beat him in the competition, and that's their goal and hope. It is then time for the nomination ceremony. It's also time for Snot O'Clock, which annoys Felicia. She then chooses Cory, Fly Guy, to join her. Her punishment is now over, which makes her and everyone else very happy, and then she goes right ahead and nominates Jag and Cameron. She says they had court today, which was in session, and she thanks them all for attending.
Yeah, I'm glad that they ended the punishment here. I think that honestly, this was kind of fine for like a one episode thing. I think if it would have gone longer, it would have gotten really like repetitive and annoying. So I'm glad that they just did it in this episode. I wish it didn't take so much time on the episode, but I'm glad that it was just like a one episode thing and we can just kind of move on.
Yeah. Felicia says she nominated Jag and Cameron, but the ultimate goal is to backdoor Hisam, catch him completely off guard, wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, and he isn't even going to know what hit him. Jag says he knows everyone's saying they want to backdoor Hisam, but he's not going to be collateral damage as a part of this plan. He's going to take this game into his own hands and just win that veto and guarantee his own safety. Cameron says the plan is pretty simple. Step 1, win the POV. Step 2, take himself off the block. He wants to blindside Hisam. He wants to get in this game. He's ready to do the play and give him the ball, and Hisam's going out the door. Hisam says he feels so safe with Felicia, so he's hoping he doesn't get picked for veto. He's already won enough competitions. Time for someone else to win and put the target on their back, and that is how we end it.
Yes, finally we get through easily the most uneventful of them all. I don't know why we have so many notes for that episode, but let's get into...
Yeah, now Kevin will be talking about the next one.
Yes. Now I will say
Also,
episode
he
9.
will.
Yes, hello. I will say with episode 9, I think something like I've been saying repeatedly about this season is that they just haven't done a good job of like really showcasing all the chaos that's been going on throughout the game and things like that. There hasn't been enough focus on like the strategy. I feel like episode 9 was like much closer to what I want to see. This was honestly a really great episode. So Felicia starts off saying that she nominated Jag and Cameron, but to be clear, Hisam is her target. For the last couple weeks, Hisam has been acting like a dictator and telling everybody what to do. And so she thinks that he just did too much too fast, especially with winning an HOH and 2 POVs. And there's really no way that they can let him play in the veto. And that's why they're sending him out the back door. So Cameron then says that back-to-back block party for the Space Cowboy. He says that it's all good though because Felicia's depending on him to go out there and win the vetoes so they can backdoor Hisam. They've got everything lined up and they've got their trick to play in their back pocket. All they got to do is pretty much execute the play. So Jag talks about how much it sucks to be on the block. He knows that he's being told that there's a plan to backdoor Hisam, but so many things can go wrong. So he just wants to make sure that he's safe and win that veto. And Cirie then says that Hisam is the biggest competitor in the entire house and that Felicia is going to use her power this week to benefit all of the bye-bye bitches. She couldn't ask for anything more. So Hisam then says that the most exciting thing this week is that he can relax and not have to do anything. It's really easy to go after people who have previously had power. But unlike Reilly's HOH, the way he ran his HOH did not leave people wanting to target him, and that feels great. And again, every confessional with Hisam, I just want to I just want to be like, Hisam, you just want so badly to like tell him that
where are we on?
He's not in a good spot right now. You want so badly to let him know.
I thought my food was ready, but it's not yet.
You want so badly to tell Hisam that like he's not in a good spot right now and things like that. And I feel so bad every time he does a confessional this week. But Jag then tells Felicia that he wants to get Hisam out so badly, which he agrees, and he asks her who all knows it's a backdoor, which she tells him pretty much everybody knows. So we get a segment of Felicia telling, and this I really liked a lot because, again, I feel like they haven't done a good job of just really showing how just chaotic this house is. And I feel like this segment did that really well, actually. We get this segment where Felicia's telling everybody about the plan to backdoor Hisam. Felicia tells Jag everybody except for Hisam and Red knew about their plan. He asks why not Red, which he says they think he might actually say something to Hisam, which, yeah, I mean, he very much would. And Felicia says that they really don't want Red to know about the backdoor for Hisam because Red is very loyal and he's very dedicated to the professors. And they're not really sure if Red would actually be on board with them backdooring him. So they need to keep him completely unaware of the plan. And this is easily, like, I think Red's biggest hurdle that he's going to have to overcome in this game. And something that I don't think we've talked enough about is that, and the show hasn't touched upon this, is that in the very early weeks of the game, Red literally said to people he didn't want to talk game yet. It was too early. He didn't want to make any deals. And so because of that, Red's always like the last person to like figure things out. And that's just kind of going to be like his trajectory in this game. So I feel like he kind of did this to himself. I think if he would have been a lot more willing to actually like make deals and talk to people, he actually could be in a pretty decent spot. But because the fact that he literally said like, oh, it's too early for that, now he's paying the price. And we're really seeing that already happen here. So
yeah, I don't really get Red as a player.
I don't either. I think he wanted to like lay low, but laying low is not talking game. Laying low is just not like promising people things. Like that's really laying low. And I think that if he had done that, I think he would have probably been in a better spot. But unfortunately, that's not the case, which is not that unfortunate because I don't really like Red. But anyway, Felicia tells Jag that they have to make this plan work and she's trusting it. Her gut says that it's going to happen and they're going to make it happen. She's going to be the one to take his sorry ass out of the house. So Blue then tells Hisam that she doesn't think that Jag expected to see his face up there. She doesn't think this was the type of game that she expected coming there. And he tells her anything can happen, which she says, expect the unexpected. And he tells her one day you're on top of the world, the next day you're out, and amazing miracles happen here all the time, which she agrees with, and they then hug it out. So we get this actually pretty funny confessional with Blue, probably the only moment with her that's actually like made me laugh, where at first she's like really sad that her friends keep going on the block, but then she excitedly yells psych because Hisam is in fact getting played, and she's glad that she could give him an award-winning performance, so he believes that he's safe this week. She says that he's going to need a miracle to survive this week. And we then get this segment of, and I'm glad that they showed this, we see America in Blue getting Cory to unleash his inner fashionista. Mimi stands that Cory is living in a hot boy summer fantasy. And Cory talks about how a big proponent of saying yes when people ask him to do something. He's playing this game so far as a handsome little boy, but it's been hard. So maybe he'll try his hand as a sexy woman. Blue tells everyone her blueism so Cory can try it. He says that this is purely strategic. I just really love how willing Cory is to pretty much do anything. It's just so great to watch. And I do honestly see him making it pretty far.
I honestly, for a filler moment, I actually liked that. That was just fun.
And it wasn't completely filler either, because we still focused on, I'm doing this for strategy. So like, you know, it wasn't completely filler in that way. So
yeah, I would say.
Yeah, Hisam talks to Izzy and Felicia that Felicia is done until the veto. Izzy really wants to play, which Felicia agrees and hopes that they could get good names pulled. Felicia tells Hisam to chill since he's done too much, which she very much has. Hisam tells Felicia that she did her thing. Felicia then says that she's got a little bit of class and flair and she's missed fly. And Izzy says that it doesn't matter how he shows it off. When Felicia leaves the room, Hisam tells Izzy that he's just going to enjoy the week. And the only thing that could screw this up is if his name comes out of that veto thing, which Izzy tells him to pretty much just chill. Izzy is trying to keep him comfortable that he doesn't gun for the veto, but he's already convinced himself of that. He's literally helping them blindside him, and it's going to be delicious. So we then get this segment of people chatting about whatever, and I was so happy that we saw this. I talked about in week 2 that Mimi had this great moments in the storage room, and I don't understand why they didn't show it. Well, they finally show it here. We get this flashback of Red telling Mimi that he had blisters this big that stuck out that far full of liquid, and Mimi is just tired of how much everyone is talking, and I don't blame her, because like these people don't stop. She says that she just needs to sometimes take a little moment, go into the storage room. And she says that working in politics is very similar to this game because she may feel very strongly about something. She also has to be compromising. So that's the position that she's taken in this game. So we get a little segment of her doing her thing in the storage room, saying that this is the most emotional group of people she's ever been around in her entire life. She says that there has not been a whole 7 days without somebody crying. Her face is just in a constant state of irritation. And what did you think of this segment overall?
Oh, I was so happy they showed this. It was so good. Like, she's definitely, honestly, someone I can see winning for sure.
Yeah, I think
she was already one of my winner picks, but like, she's just like, no one's like targeting her. She's very level-headed. She's just like, and she's very calm. Like, I can see her going all the way. I'm so happy.
I think the thing that Mimi has over a lot of these players is that she's not an emotional player, like by any means. She's very level-headed. She really tries to think through, like, if this game decision makes sense. She is going to back, I think week 2 wasn't the greatest week for her. She really wanted Reilly to stay when other people wanted to flip the vote to Cameron. That wasn't the greatest week from her, but she's been able to bounce back pretty tremendously to the point where I don't think anyone's really coming for her right now. I know this week they like float her name out and things like that, but I think that she has been playing really well. She's very level-headed. She's not letting anything really like get to her in that way. Like, she's able to overcome any sort of like, she doesn't really have any like real adversity in the game per se. Like, people have thrown her name out, but more just like as like a suggestion. It's never really stuck. And I think that's really good for her overall. So yeah, I think that Mimi's the kind of player that is really only going to progressively get better as the game goes on. I think that she's going to be in a really good spot towards the end of this game, especially. And I don't
I
think
will
people
say,
are
like,
going to see it coming. So
I could kind of see her like pulling like a Paris with comms, like just winning like
I could
final
see
3
that.
and 4.
And she is actually really good at comps. Like we'll talk about it a little bit later,
Yeah.
but there's a comp we haven't discussed yet that she actually gets pretty far in. So yeah, I mean, I think that she's definitely someone to watch out for. I think definitely they're really underestimating Mimi right now, and I think that that's going to go really well in her favor. I could really see her killing it, especially towards the end of this game. I think it's really going to ratchet up, and I think you'll agree with me. She's like one of the only people who's playing like this is pre-jury. Like most of these people are playing like it's like close to the end. I feel like she's been playing like, yeah, it's still pretty early, and I think that's good for her. So
definitely.
yeah, but all around, this was a great segment. I love seeing her in the storage room, just vent out her frustrations.
So good.
When I heard that she was doing it, I'm like, why didn't this make the show? And I was very happy it finally made the show.
Yes.
So
also, like, I love that like her storage room thing already became like a GIF so quick.
It's so good. Yeah, especially with her like especially with her like on the table doing this thing with her hands. It was great.
So good. I love it.
Yeah, so Cameron then lets Red know that there's something deeper than what he thinks is going on. And it's a lot deeper than what he thinks is going on. Because let's just say Red's reads are maybe the worst in the entire house, if I'm being honest. We then get a segment of them bonding. Cameron says that him and Red have a really great relationship. He's his guy. He's going to let Red in on the plan to backdoor Hisam this week because he needs him to know that he's his number one. So Cameron then tells Red that he doesn't want him to feel as if there's something going on under his nose. He wants him to know that they're going to take out the biggest threat in this whole house in Hisam and that it's a backdoor. He tells him that that's not going to be another smoother opportunity than right now to backdoor him. Red tells him that it's earlier than he thought was going to happen. And Cameron tells him that this is when you backdoor, which Red says is early, which I do agree with that. I do think that backdooring is good to do in like week 3. You know, most notably, you know, the backdoor that happened in BB Can 10 with what the hell? What was her name? Stephanie going. Yeah. I think that's a very good example of that. And then, you know, Lemira last season and things like that. So I do think week 3, like usually a lot tends to happen at this point in the game. So Red says that him and Cameron are really close, but they haven't really been on the same side of the house so far. So it seems odd to him that he's telling him what his alliance is planning to do, even though he isn't even in it. Not being in on this plan is going over like a fart in church, and he doesn't like it. He's got to talk to Felicia about what's really going on here, but he's got to be real careful about it. So he talks to Felicia. He wants to make sure everything is still good. She tells him the Jag is definitely the target, which Red doesn't believe. And he tells Felicia, Cirie, and Bowie that his loyalty is with them, and he guesses the only person is Hisam, and his time is limited. So they have to navigate that carefully as a group. Felicia then asks him what he would think if she actually backdoored him. He tells her it'd be a big game move, which she tells him Hisam did a lot of damage to himself this past week. Red then tells her as far as a direct risk to the professors moving forward, even though he's a part of it, he would understand that. So Felicia asks him if he'd use the veto to bring Cameron down and be okay with her putting up Hisam, and Red says yes, and that they can do that. And Felicia tells him it could be a game changer, which he agrees. And I'm going to ask you right now, do you think it made sense for her to like leave Red out of the vote initially, or do you think she should have just like told him up front?
I mean, I get it. She obviously knew he was loyal and everything to the professors, but I mean, I feel like she should have told him at least, just so he at least can still trust her. Because I mean, he was also, because he kept on thinking, like he kept questioning kind of like, why was I left out? So I feel like she should have at least let him know.
And the thing with Red is that like he's undyingly loyal to like Cirie and Felicia. Like he loves them, and he said before, like, you know, he spoke nothing but like he's spoken very highly of the both of them. So I really just think the problem at this point is Cameron. Like I think if they're so worried about Red saying something, that's why you got to go for Cameron, because then Red only that brings Red like closer to them. So I don't know. I feel like they should have set their sights on going for Cameron this week, especially with how like things have played out now. Like, they should have voted out Cameron here. So Red says that he trusts Cameron, but Felicia's telling him the Jag is the target. He's feeling really confused right now, and he thinks what he needs to do is subtly put Hisam's name out there to see how Felicia responds so that he can get to the truth. And he totally gets the plan to backdoor Hisam since he has rubbed things the wrong way. And when you rub things the wrong way, you get splinters. I don't even know what he's saying at this point. He doesn't know why they kept him in the cold since they're supposed to be an alliance. And Felicia then says that she can tell by what Red is saying to her that he knows about the backdoor plan. Somebody had to have told him, and now she's got to make sure they're on the same page. And if I'm Felicia here, like, I want Cameron out because I feel like it's pretty easy to tell that Cameron let Red in on the plan, and you just want to get rid of Cameron, like, so that doesn't become a problem.
Him.
Yeah, like, I think Hisam, you can just go for next week or like the week after that. Like, I don't understand why you don't want to get Cameron out here when I feel like that's really the bigger issue going on. So Red says he appreciates that Cameron filled him on and what the actual plan was this week. He really trusts the guy and he wants him to be a part of the group. With Hisam hopefully leaving this week, there's going to be a hole in the professors, and he'd really love for Cameron to fill that spot. And I was very happy they showed this because this is really what made them so like worried about Red was him doing this. And he tells Cameron that Felicia is a little shady, but he loves her to death. And Cameron then asks him if it's the same thing he kind of told him, which he says yes. And Cameron tells him that it'll breathe 100% easy right now. And Red tells him he's the shoo-in for the next in line, which confuses Cameron. And Red then tells him it's him, Cirie, Izzy, Felicia, Bowie, Hisam, and Mimi. And just because he brought him information, the whole group name is the Professors, which Cameron guesses it makes him the substitute. And Red tells him that he's loyal to his group, just like he's loyal to him, which Cameron says he's loyal to. Red tells him he'd much rather have a final two in his alliance, which Cameron agrees. Red then tells him he's his boy and he's taking him down for that reason. Cameron tells him now it's easier for him to make his selection. Red then tells him he's here to get as far as he can, which Cameron says they're going to get a lot farther together. Cameron then says the Professors are killing it. He hopes if he keeps everything locked up in his grade book and everything goes to plan this week, he's going to take Hisam's spot in the Professors. I just can't. I can't with the naivety in Cameron. You are literally on the block right now. Like, I don't think he realizes you are on the block. You could still go. The vote could flip onto you. Like, the last thing you should be thinking about is, oh my God, I'm going to get to be in this alliance, even though somebody in that alliance literally just put me on the block. Like, I don't know what he's doing at this point.
I don't either.
He's so incredibly naive and arrogant, and it's honestly kind of funny, but it's also like, what the hell are you doing? So, yeah. So Red then says he wants to play in this veto now more than ever. The Professors are already starting to turn on themselves, and he'd be nuttier than a squirrel if he didn't start worrying about his game at this point. So if he wins, not only will he be safe, but he can also take his buddy Cameron off the block. So we get a segment. So yeah, like I said, I think these two are honestly really bad for each other's games. And definitely. I think that if both of them were like better players, they'd recognize that. Like, I don't think Red and Cameron are good for each other's games at all. I think that they're on completely different trajectories in this game. And the more they continue to like stick together, the more they're just going to continue hurting each other. And I think that, again, this is why they should have wanted Cameron to go, because if they want Red on their side, like, this brings him to you. Like, he would turn on Cameron if they wanted him to, but unfortunately now it's like, it's just bringing them closer together. So yeah, not great at all. So we get a segment of Jared and Blue flirting, yawns, but we do love the moment where Cirie just looks like she's just ready to fucking annihilate Blue. She's just like, get away from my son, I want nothing to do with you.
That was so funny to watch.
Oh yeah, it was great. Cirie then says that Blue and Jared are spending lots of time together and she doesn't like it. She may be tickling some part of his fancy, but that tickling needs to be held for outside the game and not in this game. They have work to do. Little does Cirie know, Blue's not the problem here. Like, Blue's not the reason why this is happening. This really is her son who is laying it on thick in this whole thing. So if you want to be mad at someone, be mad at Jared. But, you know, can't really blame her for that because she doesn't really know what's going on. So Cirie then asks Jared if he's been drinking water, which he says he has, but she tells him that he's been drinking this cranberry juice all day and probably needs some water. Jared says he's got a headache, in which Cirie thinks it's because he hasn't drank much water, but Hisam then asks if he's in love. And when Hisam leaves the room, Cirie is laughing, says that he's stupid. Cirie tells Jared to stay away from her, and she knows that he isn't in love with her. And Cirie then tells him that he doesn't want what happened to Reilly and Matt to happen to them. And, well, I think that's probably what's going to end up happening, but so it's time to pick players for the veto competition. We see Izzy, Felicia's house guest choice, Red, Cameron's house guest choice, and Cory are then chosen in addition to Cameron and Jag. So Hisam's not chosen. Hisam can get backdoored at this point. Pretty much open the floodgates for that. So yeah, Felicia's very happy that that's going to happen. It's going to be the first backdoor of the season. He's going to go home this week. And then we get to the veto competition. And not only will they have the chance to win the Golden Power veto, but the winner will also become the next great human animal of the BB comic verse, Cockadoodle Zoom. And when the chicken clucks race across the coop through the radioactive sludge towards your egg laying station, once they get to their egg laying station, they must pull their cord, flap their wings, and cluck like the chicken as loud as possible for 10 seconds in order to lay an egg. When their egg is laid, carry it back through the sludge to their egg holder. Make sure to conserve their energy because they will need to make 12 trips and transport a dozen eggs on a time. What was this comp? This was
I mean, I didn't hate it. It was just funny.
Yeah.
It was just very silly.
It really was. I mean, I'll take it over some of the other comps we've had.
I'll take it over things to do with butts and snot.
Yeah, definitely. I'll take it over the wedgie comp in like round 1, and I'll take it over the snot thing. Like, this was definitely not as bad. But after a very tight race with tons of laughter and humility, Jag actually wins the veto here, which was very exciting, I thought. I thought that was, not something I would have expected. I actually thought the likelihood of him I actually thought that like Cameron was going to win the veto here. But I'm happy. But
I was very happy when Jag won because like I love him.
Me too. Yeah. I wish he was a better player, but yes.
As a player, he's a little disappointing, but just keep him around because he's a great person.
Definitely. So after I already read that. So Jag says this is going to be a signature move for the rest of the season while clucking like a chicken. Now they can just follow through with their plan. He's going to take himself off the block, and Hisam's going to get backdoored, and he's going to be a cockadoodle zoom, whatever that means. But right now, he's pretty much feeling on top of the world. So Hisam says that with Jag winning, now they have to figure out who the replacement is going to be. It would make the most sense to go after Matt. He's strong, likable, and dangerous, and he needs to convince her that Matt is the best choice. So Felicia says that it's perfect that Jag won the veto. Now he's going to pull himself down, and Hisam is going to be the replacement nominee. She's excited and ecstatic inside, and Jag says that he may have won the veto, but he's also got something else. He's also Cockadoodle Zoom, so he has to wear a chicken costume, and he says yellow kind of looks good on him. Chickens aren't really his favorite animal, but he's hoping it'll grow on him after he spends more time as Cockadoodle Zoom. The best part is he doesn't have to figure out what to wear every day, but the bad part is he has to wear this. He's just hoping that he can figure out some superpowers that come along with this. We get a segment of him wearing the costume and rapping. I thought this was funny.
It was.
Jack was a good sport about it, I thought. Wearing costumes is nothing new in Big Brother. It happens every season, but I feel like we don't see enough of that anymore. Like, I feel like that's something they used to more like in like the older seasons.
I really did like his rap. It was funny.
It was funny, yeah. So I don't know. I thought this was kind of funny, but Hisam then asks Felicia if Matt goes up when Jag comes down, which she says, yeah. Hisam says then Matt goes home, which Felicia says him or blue. Hisam tells her that Matt is stronger, but she says that she doesn't know if she wants to put him out yet, and that strength doesn't have to do with nothing. He tells her to be mindful that she hasn't seen everything that Matt can do. And I agree. I don't think Matt is the person to go after right now because he hasn't really shown his hand in terms of like the physicality and things like that. Exactly. So Felicia says that Hisam is clearly fixated on Matt and wants her to help him get Matt out, but she's not interested in helping Hisam. She's interested in backdooring Hisam, which was a really iconic quote, I will say. But the one thing I will say about this episode that I don't think they did a good job with, even though there's a lot of things I think they covered pretty well here, the one thing I don't think they did a great job with is Hisam was like this close to like not getting backdoored. They actually went through a really hard time, like figuring out who they actually wanted to target. At first, it was going to be America, I remember, and then it was going to be like Matt, and then I think Mimi's name was like thrown out, and then I think I think Blue was an option as well. So there were a lot of options, and they didn't. And then it seemed like they were going to do Bowie, and then the one thing I really wish they showed that they didn't was right before the veto ceremony. Felicia got word that Jag might have, been, talking about what's actually been going on and things like that. And she was worried that he was going to say something to Hisam, basically told him, look, I will switch this shit up right now. If you're going to do what I think you're going to do, someone else is going to go up and it's not going to be good for you. I think she was threatening to put a Blue at this point. So yeah, there's so much they could have shown with that. It would have been such a juicy television. And I don't understand why they didn't show that. Cause I thought that was very exciting. Like I was especially thinking they were going to show that scene. And they didn't. So that was something I was a little bit disappointed by.
Yeah, I was too.
Yeah. Cause like
that's a lot of things. Like they just leave out certain things, which isn't good.
Yeah, like it was pretty set in stone for the most of the week that Hisam was going to be backdoored. But then like once they actually had the opportunity, they actually were kind of struggling for a bit. And I just wish they would have shown that. It would have been exciting, So Hisam says that he's getting frustrated. Matt is the biggest threat and Matt should be the next one to go home. And it really worries him that it really is worrying him that she'll jeopardize all of their games by choosing someone like Blue. So Hisam tells Izzy that Felicia could end all of their games, that it has to be Matt. He asks why should be keeping him and do you go after the king or a knight, which Izzy agrees with him. And Izzy tells him that she'll talk to Felicia, which he tells her that she has better people skills than he does. Again, Hisam is just really not making things good for himself at all here.
Not at all.
Yeah, really just kind of increasing the target on himself at this point. Izzy then tells Matt, Cirie, and Felicia what Hisam told her about the king and knight thing, which makes them laugh. Izzy says that it was like poetic, and she feels like Felicia should tell him that when she nominates him, which Felicia says that might actually be her verbiage. And Felicia says she decides she doesn't want to take a knight out. She wants to take a king out. Matt says maybe he should have kept his name out of his mouth, which they all agree. Hisam is going to be stunned and shocked. So we get to the veto ceremony. Jag decides to use the veto on himself. And Felicia tells everyone that in the spirit of a game of chess, she believes that Hisam might have said this. Why take out a knight when you can take out a king? And with that being said, she does nominate Hisam as the replacement nominee. And so the back door has gone through. And Felicia says, for as brave a player as Hisam is, he never anticipated that the king we'd be going after is him. Now this queen is about to checkmate his behind straight out of the Big Brother house. Hisam can't outplay the player. Izzy says, looking at Hisam's angry face, she's buzzing inside. They did it, and Felicia was incredible, and now they just have to send him home. Cameron is saying that if it were any other week, you would want to be sitting next to someone on the block. It's this week right here, next to public enemy number one, but he doesn't think Hisam's going to hold back any punches this week. Matt is saying that Hisam sent home the person he trusted the most, so now it's time for a little payback. And Hisam is pissed about this because the people who stabbed him in the back. He says that it's shocking, but he's done playing the game. He's playing to win. And if he survives this week, he's going to make them feel so much guilt for what they have done. And that's pretty much how.
I wish he, honestly, in a way, I wish he stayed just for the chaos.
Me too. Yeah, I would have loved to see Hisam stay here. I mean, mainly just because I don't like Cameron and I actually do enjoy watching Hisam. I think he's really good.
Same. I don't like Cameron either, but like just for the chaos, it would have been so spicy if he stayed.
Yeah, I think that I think that he's a much more entertaining player. And I also think Hisam was just playing a better game. Like, yeah, his HOH was a train wreck for sure. Like, he had really bad HOH-itis, but I do think he could have potentially come back from it. And I just think that, you know, he really had a lot more potential in this game. And I'm not just saying that because Hisam was my winner pick, if you remember.
He was.
Yeah, I mean, kind of funny looking back at that. But I just think that Hisam had a lot more like agency. I think he had a lot more potential than say a Cameron did. So I just would have really loved for him to stay. But with that said, we are going to get to episode 10. But before we do that, I'm going to grab my dinner. So I will be right back.
Okay. I just had some taquitos. I'll be right back to you.
And,
actually, I'll be back to you. I'm just going to take my plate up.
Okay. Well, I guess it's going to be dead air for a second. So enjoy looking at the cast.
I mean, we love that. All right. I am back. Oops. When I went to go back on camera, I accidentally removed myself from the stream instead. Nice going, self. Silly me. But we just have 4 more episodes to talk about. We'll try and go as fast as we can, but there's just a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we don't want this to be 4 hours long.
I think we've had like 4. I'm pretty sure we've had 3 or 4 hour ones before.
Not 4 hours. At
least 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we do the circle, it'd be pretty long.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, let's get back into this.
All right, getting into episode 10, I will be talking about Jag says he decided to use the veto on himself. Obviously, this is Big Brother. At the end of the day, he doesn't want to be on the block when it comes to eviction night. He knows everyone has this plan to send Hisam home, but plans can change, and he wants to make sure he's good. Felicia says they just blindsided Hisam. He's going out. Nobody wants to keep him in the house, and she has to say a part of her actually feels bad because he is hurt, visibly hurt, but it's the game. Hisam says this is painful and hurts a lot. He had an alliance of 7 and no one clues him in. And he will say he's a king and you should be able to fight for yourself. He thinks that the noble thing to do is he's a king.
Yeah, Nobel Prize is getting evicted.
Felicia talks to Hisam and that she felt like she had an opportunity and that she'll probably never get again. And she sees the glare on his face because she knows he's frustrated. Hisam tells her that's not what she's saying. He's hurt because it's unexpected and they were working with each other. Felicia tells him all she heard from so many people is that he never even saw her as a competitor and that she isn't going to do anything. He tells her that's not what he said and she knows how he's always been, that he's an advocate for older adults and he'd never underestimate her. He says he thought they were all working with each other. He didn't realize that wasn't the case. She tells him she knows it's a blind side, but she knew that if they allowed him to get up in the chair as a nominee, he would win the power veto since he's a competition beast. She wants to know his thoughts, which he's still moving through the hurt, but she asks if he wants to stay up there for a little while to just think.
And I will say, credit to him. I mean, I think he did exactly what he needed to do here. Not only did he completely hold himself accountable for the way he made others feel, but he was very apologetic. He was very genuine about it. He even said that, like, yeah, I wanted to go to the end with you guys. Like, I was genuine about that. And I thought this was really good for Hisam. I think a lot of them kind of thought he was going to, like, go off on a rant and things like that. But I think we really get to see a lot about Hisam's character. The fact that he is this person that, you know, did want to stick to his word. He just kind of got a little carried away with his HOA train, but I thought he actually handled himself very well. And once again, similar to week 2, Cameron's not doing a goddamn thing this week. So like
Cameron just doesn't do anything to like secure any like safety with anybody.
Yeah, he's in a really bad spot. And I thought at this point, with the way Hisam was acting, like how apologetic he was being, how genuine he was being, I thought he was actually going to stay. I thought they were going to be like, oh my God, we messed up here. Let's try to keep Hisam. But we'll get to that.
Yeah, like Cameron just like will only talk to Red and like nobody else.
Yeah.
Hisam says this is stupid. As a gameplay, this is stupid. But he can't tell them that it's stupid because no one wants to feel that way. But he has to put that aside. He's seen people come back from worse. Getting out of this situation would be amazing and would go down in history. And then Izzy tells Hisam he gets to be angry. She tells him she knew, which she says both her and Cirie did. And she tells him she's sorry for lying to him this week because her job was to keep him calm and comfortable. She doesn't feel good about that because she's sick right now, which he says she did that and he trusted them all. He tells her he put his whole game in their alliance to try to get them to the end, which was always the goal. His goal. Izzy tells him she wasn't here playing his game and won't be told what to do. Her intelligence will not be undermined, and she won't be called a leftover. She will not be someone that he feels he got stuck with, and she finds them manipulating for someone that brought us together to be truthful and to be demanding about not talking or working with other people, trying to call America your endurance queen, which isn't okay. She tells him she did all that, and hearing that he told America that he got stuck with them like leftovers. She tells him he was the liability, and he lets her know he's sorry he made her feel that way, and it wasn't his intention. He was trying to keep himself safe, knowing he was vulnerable, and trying to make connections with other people so they wouldn't vote him out and keep working with them all, since that was the plan. But he guesses he made a mistake, and he needs to make amends with everybody, which she tells him he's sorry, and he says he's sorry too.
And again, I love how sincere he's being and how apologetic he's being. And it just makes me wish that like other people who did even worse shit than he did would be able to be this apologetic and honest about the fact that they fucked up. Like, it really is sad that all Hisam did was kind of just overplay and not even realize that he was basically like denigrating his alliance and making them feel small, when you've had house guests that have done so much worse and they can't even, find it in themselves to do anything half as genuine as what they're doing. So it's just really sad.
I know. I was like literally like, let him stay. I feel like if he stayed, he probably would have been like work with the other side.
I think he probably would have tried, but I think he would have also stayed loyal to the professors, because I think he knew that like if he didn't, they'd probably just target him again. So I think he'd probably try to get back in their good graces.
For sure. Like, I felt so bad for him, like when he was like apologizing and like
I did too.
I feel like he overplayed, but like he was also very like condescending and harsh, but like he still apologized, which was the big thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Hisam says when he's confronted about his behavior of talking to the other side, he has nothing to do but admit that is true, that they felt like they could no longer trust him because he was having outside conversations that got back to them, that made them feel small and left over. And now they distrust him. That is a mistake. He actually betrayed the people he loved and who were his family. Betrayed gets betrayal. That part makes it sound like the divide is unfixable, and he realized that this is a big hole and he has to try to find a way of staying in this game.
Yeah.
Hisam says after doing a lot of reflecting, he realized even though they hurt him by blindsiding him and he hurt them with his actions, these are the people he wants to work with and they're his family. And he'll do whatever it takes to ask for their forgiveness or their trust so they can win together. Felicia tells Hisam she feels bad because she sees hurt in him, which he tells her he really hurt him and that everything he did was to protect them. He says he wasn't making alliances and it wasn't the goal. The goal was to try and get close to other people so they can keep himself safe. But she tells them he never told them about him getting close to other people for the greater good of the group, which she says it feels very heavy right now. He says it sounds like people's minds are made up, which she says no. She says he still has a day and a half to shift people's minds. Felicia says she can see that Hisam is genuinely hurt. She feels good about their conversation, and it was good to see him acknowledge the error in his ways, but you reap what you sow. Hisam tells Izzy he really fucked up and he made so many mistakes with her and he's so sorry. He says it feels terrible because he was closest to her and he thought they were going to the end. He believes that and trusted her. He saw her as family and says he learned a lot. He says if there was forgiveness, he wants her to have mercy on him and give him a chance to be better. He tells her he'd love her vote, which she says there's still a lot to think about. And he says whoever saves him, if there is saving to be had, he can let bygones be bygones, which she hears him. And she's not saying yes or no. He tells her that's better than hearing no, and that's all he can ask for. She appreciates the apology. She appreciates the apology because she knows it's hard and she accepts and they hug it out.
Yeah, and I believe him. I think he generally would have just put this aside and try to start over. I think that's what he kind of needed to do. And I think it's impressive that he was able to just kind of own this.
Exactly. It was great of him.
Yeah.
Like he was being the bigger person.
Yeah. If only more house guests could do that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Jared, Matt, Cameron, Red.
The list goes on.
Literally anyone except Cory and Jag.
Yeah.
Izzy says Hisam is being super apologetic and she thinks it's pretty sincere. Humans are human and she thinks that he's truly suffering in this house and she does think he has potential to be smart enough to be ended by him. Hisam tells Cirie the connection he had with her, Izzy, and Felicia was very real to him, but she says it's hard to judge him because she's not in that position. She tells him she's not stupid enough to be holier than thou and be like she wouldn't have done that since she wouldn't know what to do. He tells her this comes with the context of the feeling like a backdoor by a person he felt is family, but the truth of the matter is there is a way forward for him. She thinks the obstacle they have to overcome is people feeling he wants revenge. He says if the professors save him, he's with her to the end and he'll go after the other side aggressively and he'll become the biggest target in the house. He understands families fights and families fight and he's always forgiven. He says she has to trust him in this and believes it's fixable. Cirie says loyalty is a valuable currency in this game, and in the game that you can't trust anyone, you have to trust some people because you can't play this game by yourself. So when Hisam is pledging his undying loyalty for being saved, she has to take it into consideration. As much as her insides are saying no, she believes that Hisam is redeemable. Cirie asks Felicia and Izzy how bad it'd be if Cameron went home, and Felicia says her only reservation with that is he is very hurt by the fact she did it. Cirie tells them he did stupid stuff, but she thinks he's truthful about being loyal. Felicia tells them if they were to convince a couple more people not to vote him out, it would be detrimental to their game. Izzy tells them if they save Hisam, he's protecting them, which Felicia asks if she's sure, and Izzy just doesn't know, but it's how it would look to her. Felicia wants to talk to Hisam again and look him in his face.
Yeah, and again, I thought maybe there would be some kind of a vote flip here, because if you're noticing, Cameron's not doing any campaigning.
Yeah, literally, Cameron's just like, I'm good, I'm safe.
Well, he does later, but it's literally Tuesday is when he started campaigning.
Pretty much. Felicia tells Hisam that she's going to be very straightforward. Her worry is that she'd be fool enough to flip this thing, and then first opportunity he gets, she's got to go because he's pissed at her. He assures her he wouldn't, and they hug it out. And she tells him she has that family where they get mad at each other and cuss each other out. And they don't talk for a couple months, but they have to come back together since they're always going to be connected. Izzy says if they did this, they'd be trusting, and this would be truly the most solid thing, and Hisam says he'd promise them that. Hisam says he doesn't know what the future holds for him or whether he'll have enough votes to stay, but if he does, he'll see something unlike anything that's ever been seen on this game before. He is fiercely loyal and fiercely protective, and he'll do everything he can to make sure his family is safe, and they end up in the end together. When Hisam leaves the room, Izzy says she thinks they need Cory, Jared, and Mimi's votes. Felicia thinks they can get all of them. Cirie says they would need America's vote too. And Felicia says nobody is asking her to align and she desperately wants it. Cirie says if she wants to align, this is her opportunity. Izzy tells them if they're going to do this, they need to think about this, which Cirie agrees. Felicia says in order to keep Hisam, they gotta find at least 2 other votes. Bowie has been a floater and they're not sure where she stands, and there's no way Retta's gonna vote Cameron out. So now they gotta look outside the professors in order to make this work. Cirie says keeping Hisam has its benefits. She actually believes when he says he would be loyal to the end for anyone who saves him, but she's unsure if it's really worth it. They're putting all their necks on the line and alienating so many others. It's crucial they make the right decision in this, and she's still unsure what they should do.
Yeah, I mean, again, something they don't show is that Cameron did start to campaign a little bit, and that's kind of what stopped them from. Well, what actually stopped them was they were going to like go for Hisam and they were gonna potentially flip the vote, but like I think Cory came in and said, "Listen, we've done all this work already. We kind of have to do this. Like this, we've been telling people all week. Like so that's kind of what stopped them from potentially saving Hisam." So
exactly, like I wish they showed his campaigning too.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't much, but like he did.
Yeah, like at least show like a couple minutes, you know.
Yeah,
it's time
to just show like what's the point of saving Cameron? You know, like I don't think they did a good enough job of saving that.
It's time for the live vote and eviction. Cameron is up first to plea. He once again gives a pretty generic plea, giving love to his daughter and thanking them all for how close they've all become and how much he trusts and respects all of them. Hisam is up next. He talks about how much time he's had to reflect since being on the block. He's made multiple mistakes and he understands why he's there, but he's also found a way of asking for forgiveness, which has been very meaningful for him. Right now, he's asking for the vote to stay there. He's asking for them to send kindness, generosity, and mercy to allow him to stay in this game. If they do, he promises to be loyal to them to the very end. As hard as it gets, it's always on their side. It isn't something that his competitor, Cameron, can say.
I thought this was a really good plea. I think the pleas, the majority of them this season have not been that great, but I thought this one was actually pretty good. Like, he did a good job of saying, like, listen, if you keep me here, like, I'm going to stick with you. Like, Cameron's not beneficial for your game and things like that. I thought this was actually pretty convincing.
Definitely. I thought it was, like, a really good plea, honestly. It was just very, like, heartfelt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. After another week of flip-flopping, we get yet another unanimous vote of 11-0 in which Hisam has been evicted.
Yeah.
And then the Scaryverse thing lights up where the house guests get a visit from Kaser. He lets them know 18 years ago he endured a grueling competition that lasted nearly 14 hours and became legendary amongst BB fans, the pressure cooker. He lets them know it's their turn, but this time the Scaryverse has made it even more challenging. He wishes them luck and to trust him that they're going to need it. Most of them are questioning. Also, I will say most of them are questioning what a pressure cooker is, so America lets them know, which I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, that was funny. I mean, some of them seemed excited about it. I just thought it was really weird how they went from saying goodbye to Hisam to like immediately just diving into, okay, pressure cooker's happening. Like they didn't show his interview and then do that. Like I was just very confused why they did that like so quickly.
I know it was so like abrupt, but I will say
yeah,
like
it really
I love the pressure cooker because like when I've watched BB6, oh, so good, and I'm so glad they brought it back.
And I think it's
season.
It really hits you how long it's been when Kaser says, like, this was literally 18 years ago. Like, that's insane.
Ugh,
that it's taken that long to come back.
That's crazy. I kind of want to rewatch this again at some point.
Yeah.
Like some of the...
I want to watch, because I never watched.
Ooh. I obviously didn't watch it on TV, but I watched it, like, online. So good. During Hisam's interview, he says he's a really fierce competitor and he's really direct, bold, and honest to why he couldn't secure the votes. He says sometimes people can be intimidated by that, and he thinks what ended up happening is that he made too many bad decisions, like trusting the wrong people. He says he's going to work on his trust issues by going into Big Brother and thinks these are the people he's going to trust and these are the people who backdoor him. About the dictatorship. He says it's the pressure of being HOH and trying to make decisions and trying to sort of navigate the game. He was also trying to navigate how all 7 of them made it to the end. And a part of that was trying to strategize how do they all make it. And sometimes they're just blinded by what they think is best. Outside of this, he's a doctor and he makes really tough decisions all the time. He tries to get as much feedback as possible, but in the end, a decision has to be made and he has no fear of making decisions. He's used to being a leader and because he was listening to what people had to say and was trying to make decisions by what was morally important to him. It led to him being a little bit blinded, and when Julie informs him... Oh, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I thought this was again, he did a good job of like understanding like what really happened and what really got him here. He owns the fact that he kind of played this dictator type game and, you know, he kind of overdid it on that front. I thought, again, I like that he was like upfront and honest about it. He didn't say like, I don't understand why people are thinking this about me. Like it's just a lot more refreshing to see someone who was so like self-aware of their game. And I feel like that's what Hisam was by the end. He actually is very self-aware of what he did wrong.
Oh, definitely. Like, I'm glad he actually like admits that and he owns it.
Yeah.
All right. When Julie informs him there's a secret relationship in the house, he looks stunned and confused. He thinks there's the obvious ones, but Julie says it's not romantic. And then she informs him Cirie is Jared's mother. He isn't really shocked at all and says it makes sense because they look alike, which his reaction was just so funny.
Yeah, the way he was just like so like just like unbothered by it.
He's just like, wow. I feel like it gave like a very fake vibe.
Yeah, it was
just
great.
Just like how he said it was just so funny.
Yeah.
He says they've done a very good job at hiding it, which also explains why he relates to them as his mom and sort of like why the bombshell he dropped on him did not have as much significance as he would have thought. Like it happens in a way of bringing you over, but they were already together and hopes they go to the end. And then he gets goodbye messages from Cirie, Izzy, Matt, and Blue, which we don't really have to say like all what they say. No. He says he had a really great... What?
I said I don't remember what they said anyway, so we're just gonna skip over that.
Unless it's like something really important.
Or like really iconic, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He says he had a really great time and learned a lot, and he's so glad he did. And then Julia...
and let's...
I almost said Julia.
Okay, Matt. Anyway.
No.
Let's talk about Hisam for a little bit before we do move on. I think that Hisam he played very differently than I thought he would. I really thought his strategy that he had like coming into the game was actually a really strong one where he was gonna like try to find a person and like ride the middle. But I think he just got like way too comfortable in his alliance. And I think that once he was in power, he really just should not have won HOH. I think that was definitely a big thing for him. Like, I don't think he should have won it to begin with. Because I think that...
like, since he was in a good position, he should have just, like, chilled and just only won when he needed it.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, he never realized that people were already seeing him as, like, the face of the professors and things like that. And I think his real issue was not really knowing when to kind of like just backpedal a bit and be like, okay, I don't have to do this much this week. It's only week 2. We can kind of wait a little bit. Like, I think what he was trying to do with America wasn't bad, but it was that he did that. And then he was also telling his alliance, like, specifically what to do. And then he was very adamant about this is how you must vote, telling them not to talk to other people in their alliance. Like, he just was doing way too much.
He was doing too much and he was just trying to control everyone.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of interesting to think about because I think if you were to just kind of look at it at a very surface level, his HOH reign seems pretty simplistic, but it's really just the way he handled things and just how much he was like enforcing stuff. I just think that he just really went a little overboard, and I think if he had just like kind of pumped the brakes a bit, I think he honestly could have been a real force in this game. I think I do still very much contend that I don't think this was the week to take him out. I think the week to take him out, honestly, probably would have been like right before Cirie. I think that's probably when they could have taken him out, because I think he would have continued to win comps like for their side and things like that. I think, that would have been like really good for them. And then they can take him out once he's done like too much and burned too many bridges. But I just think that he really needed to kind of just chill a bit. And I think if he would have done that, I think he actually could have gone really far. But yeah, I am disappointed to see him go so early. I thought he had a lot of potential. I honestly thought he was like a lot of fun to watch. I think he's probably one of the best villains we've seen in Big Brother in a while. Just because the fact that, one, he owns it, but also the fact that he doesn't really hold back in terms of like his, like, the way that he talks to people and things like that.
He's so direct, like an Izzy, but except Izzy is not condescending. She's just chaotic.
Yeah, I just thought it was very, it was a very different kind of player than we normally get to see, and I thought that's what made him really stick out to me. So yeah, I was really surprised to see him go as early as he did. I thought for sure Hisam was going to be one of those people that could get himself out of this situation. And unfortunately, it just didn't quite work out for him. So yeah, I definitely am sad to see him go. But anything you want to say about Hisam before we move on here?
Yeah, I wanted to see him go a little bit further too, just because like he was so like fun to watch, even if he was like condescending and rubbed people the wrong way at times, and as well as me and other Big Brother fans. But like he was just so entertaining, and I think he should have just lasted at least a couple more weeks. But it was still like such a fun move to watch. Like it was great TV.
Yeah.
But yeah,
with that said,
I just wish he like chilled and was low key, toned it down a bit, and that would have been way better for him. But he was still great.
With that said, I don't think I'm winning this fucking draft. I'm making that known right now. I don't think it's happening. I've lost 2 people. I think you've only lost like 1 person. I don't think I'm winning.
On our draft? I have to look. We have to look again.
Yeah,
but
I don't think I'm winning. Because I literally had Hisam as my winner pick. I don't think I'm winning.
I lost. Who had Luke? Me?
You.
Okay, so I lost Luke and Kirsten. You lost Reilly. You lost Hisam. Is that it? Yeah.
Well, that's everyone that's left. Yeah.
Yeah. So we both lost people. So it's pretty like even.
I've lost more though, so we'll see.
All right. Julie then lets us know that America, once again, not the player, has a chance to impact this game by giving their favorite house guest a chance to win a game-changing superpower. The top 4
and the second she said that, I was like, oh God, no, we don't need this.
Yeah, like certain powers are just like, hopefully it's good, hopefully it's not just shitty.
Yeah. Anytime she says there's like a game-changing power, I'm like, no, I don't want this.
Same. It's like we're very like skeptical of what it could be.
Yeah.
The top 4 vote getters will battle in a secret individual competition for the BB power of invincibility. The winner will gain the ability to save an evicted house guest at one of the next 2 evictions, and they can even use it on themselves. Which I will say this makes sense because they've been mentioning like the Cirie and Jared connection. I feel like this is why it's going to be longer, because instead of having a pre-jury battle back, they just have that power.
Yeah, I think that we definitely needed something in order to like not drag things out, but make sure that the season ends on time, like when it's supposed to. And so I do feel like this is something that was implemented at the right time. Yes. I just feel like that maybe it should have gone a little longer.
Yeah, I can definitely see that for sure. So it's like
I would have liked it if they... Yeah, like I would have liked if they did this for like the rest of the pre-jury or something like that. That would have been interesting if they did that.
That would have been pretty cool, actually. Like it was a little early.
Yeah.
Oh, great. For the pressure cooker, they're not allowed to sit and kneel, but squatting is okay. They can only leave the box after 3 people release their button. There are no bathroom breaks, and whenever they let go of their button, they must claim a card from the wall, which there's 10, and the cards contain either something good or something bad, and the pressure cooker begins now, and that's the end of episode. That is the end of episode 10.
Yeah, which right off the bat, I think, since you've seen the original pressure cooker, there were some key differences in this one. And one of them, from what I heard, was them actually getting to leave the box, or like, if I remember correctly, in the other time they did this, they weren't allowed to leave. So
I think so. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Like they had to stay outside.
Also for the next episode that you're gonna be talking about, also the comp is literally most of the episode.
Yeah, so episode 11 I was really excited for. I was like,
Me
oh my
too.
god, the pressure cooker. And I think
so
all of
good.
us kind of had, I think all of us were really excited, but I think a lot of people were kind of preparing for the worst because even though, yes, they're bringing back this comp.
I was literally hoping for a Mimi or America for this.
Well, no, well, yes, obviously that, but what I was talking more about is like more like structure wise. I kept seeing people on Twitter say like, oh, nobody would ever last as long, in modern age Big Brother. They're gonna last for like 3 hours. It's not gonna go as long as everyone's saying. And thankfully we were proven wrong. This was almost, I believe they beat the original time by just like a minute, which is really funny.
No, they didn't beat it. They lost by like a minute.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So they almost got there.
They almost did, but it was literally like a minute or two off, which was like so close.
Yeah, so they almost got there, and I was very happy about that. And when I found out, oh, the comp was okay. Well, it was 14 hours long. I was like, oh my god, okay. So I guess the majority of the episode is going to be the comp, and I was pretty disappointed with what we got in this episode. I felt like, yes, a lot of it is the comp, but it just feels like there's a lot of stuff they didn't really get to show that I would have liked to see. It just felt like they picked kind of the most boring parts of the comp to really showcase. So,
they didn't show a lot of interesting stuff. Like there was moments that were good, but a lot of it was just kind of blah.
Yeah, I was just pretty underwhelmed by this episode, but we are going to get right into it. Although before we do, I'm going to put my dinner away, so I'll be right back.
Sounds good. It was still such a fun comp to watch. It was just, I just wish they had some more interesting stuff in this episode, but it's still good.
Okay, I'm back.
All right.
So we start off here, and Cory talks about how when he was, when the pressure cooker was first played, he was 3 years old, and for every HOH since, he's really been wanting to watch it again, which, pretty much all of us have been saying that every season, like bring back the pressure cooker, bring back the pressure cooker. And now here he is. He's in the pressure cooker, the most iconic comp in Big Brother history. All that matters is how much you want to win that HOH, and it's incredible to be a part of, and he is very excited, which, as he should be, we are as well.
Yes.
So, all right. So Izzy says that Hisam is finally out of the house. The game has absolutely reset, and the Professor's Alliance is pretty much done. So this HOH is going to be crucial, and she really wants to win it. Felicia knew that it was going to be an overnighter. She said they took a big swing and didn't miss. They literally got the biggest target out of the house. Hisam made some really good arguments for keeping himself inside the house, but they realized for all of them, the best move was to evict him. She's the outgoing HOH, and she now has to rely on other people. So she could be sitting all night watching. She can see, but can't hear. Something I was going to ask you, because I saw this floating around Twitter a lot, is if Hisam had stayed, do you think this comp would have been longer? Because I feel like it would have.
It could have been, but I don't know. I feel like, I don't know if I see him winning this comp.
I just feel like he's someone who would stand there for a very long time and would just continue talking everyone's ear off.
Yeah, I feel like he would be chatting and trying to stay there as long as he can, but I feel like he would be talking too much. He just let go.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, the thing about this comp is like it's really like you literally just have to hold your hand on a button. Like it's probably one of the easier comps.
It's very
like
easy, but you also I think it also hurts your hand apparently because like America says hers is like numb.
Oh, it definitely does. Yeah. So America says that as soon as she saw Kaser up on the screen, she knew what competition this was. She thinks that it's iconic. They can't sit or kneel, but they can squat if they want to. Plus, they're in the scary verse. The lights are out, so they can't see a thing. And in season 6, this competition lasted for 14 hours, the longest comp in Big Brother history. I agree. I could see this happening, actually.
Yeah.
I think that's how Mimi would win.
Ooh, I can definitely see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, she's a super fan. She's prepared to last even longer. Cameron says that he's got to have this HOH. He's got to win this one for Stevie Ray. This one's going to be a birthday present, but also as important, he wants his main man, Red, safe too. They made a final two pact, and we get this moment where we see them create this final two called the Chillers. Cameron tells him chillbillies coast to coast, just chilling. Cameron says that they knew they're taking each other as far as they could possibly go. Who cares? Unfortunately, we're going to have to see a lot of that throughout this week.
Like, their duo is just...
Yeah. I just... And the Chillers is such a boring name. Just call it, like, Chillbillies. Like, I don't...
Yeah, honestly, they should have just been Chillbillies.
Yeah, like, that has much more of a ring to it than just the Chillers.
Yeah.
So... Cameron says that they know they're taking each other as far as they can possibly go. Cirie says that this changes this game changes day by day, hour by hour, and over the last couple days, her, Izzy, and Felicia have gone to work to ensure that all of their ducks are in a row. And I really like this a lot. We get to see all the different alliances that the three of them are in, which, I mean, is really good because, like, if anyone wanted to make, like, a roadmap of all the alliances, I mean, it'd be crazy because there's so many going on.
It's so many.
So basically, her main alliance is for real with Izzy and Felicia. We get a flashback of Izzy telling Felicia and Cirie that they solidified them, Jared and Cory. She tells them those are the people they trust anyway, and they should just be for real, which is the name of their alliance. So it ends up being Cirie, Izzy, Jared, Cory, America, and Mimi. That is the real alliance.
You forgot Felicia.
Oh, yeah. So Cirie says she also has her 7 Deadly Sins alliance, which most of her for real people are in. We get another flashback with Izzy, with the Cirie and Felicia talking an alliance with Izzy, Matt, Jag, Blue, and Jared. They both have sides of the house protecting each other. Another flashback is shown of them naming their alliance the 7 Deadly Sins. And then there's also Legend 25, which includes her, Felicia, Izzy, Matt, Red, Bowie, Mimi, and Cameron. But it really is just a fake alliance to placate Red, Cameron, and Bowie because she doesn't trust them as far as she can throw any of them. Which, side note, I love that they think that Bowie is like this mastermind of sorts that's like playing all sides, and they just like don't want anything to do with her. It's just so funny because it could not be more hilarious. On the contrary.
Literally after the season, they're gonna feel so dumb.
Yeah, I would have never expected it, and that's why it's so funny to me. So she says that she needs a Rolodex or something, some cards, some cliff notes. She can't keep up with all this nonsense, and when it comes down to it, she's not depending on anybody else to save her. She wants to save herself and Jared and Izzy and Felicia. And yeah, I mean, I'm just as much. My head is spinning just as much trying to keep up with everything. So. Jag says this HOH competition is do or die. Last week, he was on the block, and by winning the POV, that just painted a larger target on his back. So he needs to win this to protect himself and the 7 Deadly Sins.
I will say, Jag is another person I thought would win this comp because, like, I feel like because he was on the block, he was going to go to bat for it. So I was hoping him, America, or Mimi.
Yeah, he was doing really well for a while too. So I thought he had a decent shot, but. Cameron says he's got a lot at stake in this one, and he's been sitting on the block for 2 straight weeks. He's got to keep the Chillers safe, and he's got to show Legend 25 that he's there to fight for them. So Cory says he's staying in the pressure.
Is it just me or Cameron's DRs are so boring?
Oh, they are.
They're just like easy.
Yeah. So Cory says he's staying in the pressure cooker long enough to show the for real alliance that he's for real. He's willing to fight for them, and he'll go to bat any day. Cirie says this isn't her type of competition. However, she set herself up so that she's covered from back and all sides. The only bridge that could mess this up is if Cameron or Red win HOH. Felicia then says that they're feeling pretty good going into this HOH comp because of all their alliances, but the worst case scenario would be if Cameron or Red won, because even though they're telling them they're safe, you really just never know, and she has put Cameron on the block as a pawn. So she doesn't think that's the best thing for her game right now. She's just praying that somebody shows up that they can sit down on the couch and watch TV with her. So Izzy says that Cameron and Red are absolutely fine for the HOH win. She's in this fake alliance with them, but she's hoping they drop soon. So really nobody wants Cameron or Red to win HOH at this point. So Jared says going into this HOH, he really needs to win. He really wants to show the rest of the house guests that he's actually a competitor there. If he wasn't to win, he'd be super excited with anybody in his close alliance winning. And right as he says that, after an hour and 17 minutes, he lets go of his button. And let me just say right off the bat, him doing this is so fucking stupid, because literally later on, they didn't, I don't think they showed this on the episode, but later on, he was like, he was inside the house with Blue being like, they're coming for us this week. We're going on the block. And it's like, if you were really worried, then why didn't you win HOH? Like, I don't understand why. So like, why are you throwing this if you're safe? Like, I feel like he could have stuck it out for a lot longer. So I don't know why he let go of his button.
Yeah, I did not expect him to be the first out. And oh yeah, I hate this.
Yeah.
Cameron's they're gonna be, she needs to put more clothes on. Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah, he's disgusting for that. Also disgusting is my internet, and I will be right back because of it, because it's acting up.
Oh no. We do not stand internet issues. And StreamYard does that to everybody. I will continue, or yeah, we'll continue once he's back. Actually, I'll be right back as well. Kevin's just fixing his internet and going to the bathroom, and I'll be right back. I just have to bring my mom some cough drops. All right. I am back, but Kevin's continuing this episode because obviously since there's so many, we're just doing 3 each just to make it go a little faster, even though it's already 2 hours. But it's okay. But at least the next week we only have 3 episodes, so we'll just be back to doing that just that week by itself. And we'll try and do it like maybe Thursday, but we'll see if we're like caught up on all the episodes. But yeah. I hope you guys are enjoying this though. Yeah, he'll be back shortly. Right now it's just very quiet because we're waiting for Kevin to come back. But yeah, I don't know why StreamYard always like messes with connection because it does that for me a lot too. But oh well. All is good. It is what it is. Hello, you're back.
Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so Felicia talks about how they're feeling pretty good going into this HOH comp. Oh, I just read that. Okay, so Izzy says that Cameron and Red are absolutely fighting for this HOH win. She's in this fake alliance with them, but she's hoping they drop soon so the rest of them can just relax and have a good time inside this pressure cooker. Jared says, oh, I already read him letting go of the button. Where am I? Okay. That she thought Jared would be in this to the end. She knows that he's capable of doing this, so she's a little disappointed he's the first one out. I also was pretty disappointed that
I was also disappointed. Like, really, girl? Really, dude?
Yeah, definitely. Something they don't show is actually after Jared and Cirie both dropped, they had this like conversation of sorts where she basically told him it's so much like you need to be doing better, and it was like a very satisfying conversation, and I just wish that's something they showed, like her just kind of cluing him in, and of course he does nothing about it because he's Jared, but
nope. Yeah, he needs to listen to his mom.
Still would have been fun to see that play out. So Jared picks card number 1, which says new friends. Kaser then pops up on the screen and says way back in season 6, he made a deal to try to keep himself safe in the pressure cooker. But unfortunately for him, he was living in a house full of snakes. But they should be more worried about these snakes, in which the thing in the middle officially gets uncovered with a bunch of snakes in it. So now they have to deal with all these snakes. Guy says that he hates snakes and he's terrified of them. He's stuck in this room right next to this den of them, which is a nightmare. So yeah, there's significantly a little bit more going on this time around. Something else that we didn't touch upon, they're in the dark the entire time during this comp, which is really, I like that a lot. I think it's a really good like little twist here because they're not able to tell how long this comp is actually going for. Whereas the first time they did this, the first time they did this, they could see like the sun rising and things like that. So they kind of had like a better idea. This time around, they don't even know how long they're holding for. So Cirie says that she doesn't like snakes in human form, and whatever their species form is, she isn't happy about this at all. And after an hour and 22 minutes, she ends up letting go of her button. So she says the only thing that may have happened, she pulled her shirt over her fingers. She doesn't know what happened, and she didn't even know she was out. She could have stood there for at least another 2 hours, and it wasn't that hard. So she picks card number 2, which says Sixer, and basically it's just a 6-pack of beer. That's all she ends up getting.
Okay, that was so funny. Just her reaction just killed me. She's like, really, that's it?
Yeah, she isn't super thrilled because she doesn't really drink a lot of beer, but she does share it with Jared. And if she is, it's a cute little cocktail with fruit flavors and such.
Honestly, she is me with that, with drinking. Like very rarely, only sweet stuff.
Yeah, same, honestly. But America is standing in the pressure cooker, and there's nothing to do but think, and she can't seem to get this certain someone off her mind. And we then get this flashback of America and Cory talking and flirting, and we see they are really starting to, things are really starting to escalate within this showmance. It seemed like it was kind of one-sided for a bit.
I mean, they're not really a showmance; they're more of a flirtmance because they don't really do much besides like cuddle and stuff.
Oh no, I would say at this point they are. I think that they very much are a showmance because they're always together at this point, and even
I mean, because they trust each other, but they aren't like a showmance per se.
Well, even later in the week, Cory says something to the effect of like, "I can't get America off my mind. She's all I think about." Like he's kind of checked out the game he's over. So I would definitely call them a showmance just because of like where they've gone. But Cory says that coming into the house, he expected to become the nerdy guy, the dork, memorizing all the things around the house. And now he thinks he's becoming America's sweethearts. America says that she trusts Cory more than anyone else in the house. So she's really rooting for them in this competition. And I mean, I don't think it's unpopular to say this is definitely the showmance I prefer watching. I like these two a lot. I actually think
they're actually adorable.
Yeah, I think they're actually very fun to watch together. I like seeing, especially them just kind of like make fun of like all the crazy shit going on in the house. I really like their dynamic a lot, and I'm excited to follow it more throughout the season. So, but again, something else I'm going to mention is I just think they spent way too much time on this episode on things that aren't the pressure cooker. And it's like, I want to see the pressure cooker. I don't want to see stuff that happened after the pressure cooker. Like, you can show me this segment, but show me after the competition. Like, I just don't think they showed enough of the pressure cooker. So Izzy says this HOH is very important to keep the power in their hands, but it's cold and the dark is disorienting. She's trying to do everything to stay awake and stay warm and focused in this game. And after 3 hours and 55 minutes, Izzy does let go of her button. She says her hand slipped and she let go. She picks number 3, which says concerts, which basically is just a really not much of anything. The first 3 get to leave the pressure cooker. That's all it really is. So,
well, it's like the music thing that's shown after they leave.
Oh yeah. She gets to dance with like some speakers.
No, you'll see it's in the notes right after.
So Cirie says her, Jared, and Izzy are the first 3 out. However, this ends up Red or Cameron cannot win HOH. So when they leave, Kaiser pops back up and says, everyone else, nothing makes the time pass in the pressure cooker like a little music. So some heavy metal music then plays for everybody left. So Cameron talks about his first time hearing this song. He was quite enthused. It has merit, but the 8th time in a row made him begin to dislike it. So Izzy, Cirie, and Jared are talking to Felicia, and they're not happy about how the competition went for them. Izzy says that she feels like a loser. She really wants to be someone that can win for them, so they feel some safety. They might have led the power in the house for the last couple of weeks, but she thinks that they are very much underdogs at this point, which I don't know about that. We'll get into that.
No.
Felicia tells them to not beat themselves up because they still have other people out there. Jag says that the room is very cold and extremely dark where you can't see a thing, which doesn't help when you're feeling sleepy. Any minor slip-up can pretty much cause him the game. So after 8 hours and 35 minutes, Bowie lets go of her button. She then picks card number 4, which says pressure cooker. Kaiser pops back up, and probably the most useless of all of them. It's literally her own pressure cooker for her home kitchen, which I think is really funny.
I just think that's so funny, especially for Bowie, who doesn't do much.
Yeah, it's very fitting for Bowie to get probably the most useless, card of them all. Like, it's like perfect for her. So
yeah, she's just literally just there.
Yeah, I thought that was so funny. But yeah, basically Matt says he didn't have any intentions of winning this week's HOH. He didn't want to put a target on his back, so Bowie drops out. This is a perfect cover for him to drop out as well, especially when the lights turn off. No one's going to know what his mistake is, so he could just say he twitched whenever and whatever. So after 9 hours and 40 minutes, he lets go of his button. He picks card number 5, which says callback, and Kaiser then pops back up, says he's personally excited for them to experience one of his favorite things about the original pressure cooker, which are the flies. A bunch of flies then get unleashed. Mimi at this point is feeling very on edge. She doesn't like the bugs. She has enough pressure right now holding on to this button, trying to stay warm. She doesn't have time to be swatting flies right now. So
I will say, Mimi is like very solid though overall. Like she's just vibing.
Yeah. So Red says he feels like it's got to be early morning, but he's not sure exactly what time. And again, I like the fact that they don't know what time it is. So he's feeling a bit sleepy, feeling aware of standing on his feet. He's doing his best to stay warm and stay alert. But at this point in the game, it's getting pretty tough. So after 10 hours and 8 minutes, Red slips and lets go of his button. Red is heartbroken about this. All he can think is he knows his boy Cameron's got him because he's looking pretty solid, and hopefully he can pull out a win for the Chillers. He picks card number 6, and it's literally just a Paramount Plus subscription, which I think is so funny.
Yeah, he gets like a home state-of-the-art home theater and a year-long subscription to Paramount Plus with Showtime.
Yeah, which I mean, I think they did this because of like Janelle winning the Netflix subscription in Big Brother 6.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think it really shows like how much time has passed when that was seen as like an amazing gift. She's like freaking out about it. Like, can't believe that she got this like flat screen TV and Netflix subscription. And then Red's like, oh, okay, Paramount Plus, whatever. Like just kind of shrugs it off. So Cameron says he's got to outlive 2 people.
And also 3 more of them can leave now. So woo.
Yeah. So Cameron says he's got to outlive two people, Jag and Blue. They're the two most lethal players stacked up against Legend 25 right now. If they can roll on through them this week and get at least one of them out of the way, they got it. They got a little bit smoother sailing ahead of them. Mimi says they're down to the final six. It's her, Cameron, Blue, Jag, America, and Cory. She's hurting, but she's going to get to see this through. She's going to be the next HOH. And then after 12 hours and 17 minutes, Cory lets go of his button. He says that he's relieved. He was never going to win this HOH. The whole idea is he wants to get as far as he possibly could. He was trying to hold on for one more person to drop. So he then picks card number 7, which says have-nots. And this I actually liked a lot. Kaser pops back up and says, looks like he's a have-nots and must choose 2 house guests to join him. But instead of slap, they're going completely old school with PB&J.
So good.
Honestly, not a bad time to be a have-not. You get to eat PB&J, so
PB&J is not bad. So I mean,
yeah. So after 12 hours and 44 minutes, Blue lets go of her button. Blue says that this isn't cute. She didn't even know her hand came off the buzzer. She's out, but her bestie Jag is still in the game, and she knows he could win this. He just needs to wake up.
Yeah, so he was like falling asleep. It was funny.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't blame him. It's like really a long time at this point. It's 12 hours. So Blue then picks card number 8, which says money. Kaser pops back up and says Big Brother is giving her $1,000 for lasting this long in the pressure cooker and not to spend it all in one place. Blue says she's much rather have HOH this week, but she'll wipe away her tears with her dollar bills. If I remember correctly, she wasn't happy there was only $1,000. She wanted like a lot more money, which I thought was interesting. That she... You know, it seemed like it wasn't enough for her. So Jag says it's impossible for him to tell how much time has passed. He literally can't tell if it's been 2 hours or 12. He doesn't even know if it's day out or if it's night out. All he knows that he's tired and trying so hard to stay awake. So after 12 hours and 15 minutes, he lets go of his button. He picks card number 9, which says perfume. And after the next 3 leave, Kaser then pops back up, says they can smell that. It's not roses. It's the sweet smell of the pressure cooker's new fragrance. Eau de sewage, which is French for sewage. So Mecole said that they're down to the final 3. She looks over at America, who is quivering. She hears a lot of deep breaths from her, and she knows that she's breaking down. So Cameron's having a lot more movement than he had in the beginning of this comp. And basically, where was I? Oh, yeah. Okay. So she's breaking down, and basically she knows he's hurting right now. She thinks he has a real shot at this, and all she needs to do is hang on. Unfortunately, though, after 13 hours and 50 minutes, Mimi lets go of her button because of the flies. I really thought she was going to win this. I thought that she had a really steady lead, and I thought that this was going to be her comp. I was really excited for her. And
I was hoping Cameron would drop there, and then but then I was like, oh, come on, America, right after she left.
Yeah, so she's devastated right now. She didn't come this far to come in 2nd or 3rd place. She really wanted to win this. And she picks card number 10, which says dinner party. And Kaser then pops back up, says congratulations. She's won a dinner party for her and 3 house guests of her choosing. Bon appetit. Cameron then tells...
Honestly, I will say hers is actually a good one to work on her social game more.
Yeah, because that's been like really her only issue is that she doesn't talk to the other side of the house enough. I feel like. So Cameron tells America that he knows that she wants this bad, but he's here to tell her if he has this week, she stays clean. She would get really dirty, and he's willing to do that. So Izzy tells Felicia and Cirie that America is a fan, and when Kaser took the deal and let go, he went home. So she knows America doesn't think she's going home, but she's not going to risk that. And Cameron then tells America he thinks she's playing a pretty solid game right now that's kept her from having to do those things. She asks him what he'll do, and he asks her the same thing. He tells her she's 100 to 200% safe, and he isn't just saying that. She asks if she's not a replacement, which he says 100%. He tells her this thing is going to get real dirty real fast, and she's a smart cookie, and she knows that she's going to go a lot further. And he said it's an easy strike for him, and he's swinging on a 3-0 pitch. She asks him if Cory can't go up either, which he says absolutely not. So America says as Cameron starts talking to her, it's nothing that she hasn't thought about herself. She's sort of in the middle, and she feels like she's in a good position in the house right now. She feels like it's too early to start picking sides. So Cameron is making a lot of sense. And unfortunately, after 13 hours and 49 minutes, America lets go of her button, and Cameron is the new HOH, the one person that nobody wanted to win, ends up winning.
This was such like a boring outcome.
Not exactly. I will say, I think if I liked...
good for him. Like, he needed it, but it's also like the most just underwhelming.
If I liked Cameron more, this would be a very exciting outcome because it's like the person that nobody wanted to win ends up winning. It just sucks that it's Cameron.
Yeah, I will say one thing that was spicy is the last 3 in the comp were like house targets.
Yeah, it was literally all the people that were probably going to be targeted at some point. So I was really pulling for America to win HOH here, but unfortunately she lets go, and yeah, Cameron wins HOH, and America says she made the deal with Cameron and she decided to let go of her button. She tried to make it seem as convincing as possible to Mimi. Felicia isn't entirely thrilled with Cameron winning. She's thinking that, she wants to see where the week is going to take them. And Izzy then says that Cameron winning is really worst case scenario for her. They've got this fake 8 alliance, but her and her real people are targeting them. They want them out of this house, but he wants him to trust her. So Red then tells Cameron that Izzy didn't seem happy. We see a flashback from 4 minutes after HOH, and Red says he thinks Izzy was not happy that he was going to be the person in power this week. It's absolutely concerned that her reaction was so evident. He thinks Izzy's definitely one of those people that doesn't have their best interest in mind. But something they don't show here is when Red said this, he's not telling Cameron to put her up this week. He's saying, let's do this next week. We don't have to do this now. We'll do this next week. And it's like,
why
are you fucking kidding me? Like, the thing is, there might not be a next week. Like, that's the thing.
No.
Like, when you're HOH, like, that's your opportunity to like really like solidify your spot in the game and like improve your positioning. And Red does and listen, Cameron doesn't do himself a lot of favors, but Red really hinders Cameron's HOH here. Like, I think honestly, Red really just kind of fucked this ruined his entire HOH. Any opportunity Cameron had, I think, to make like a move here, Red pretty much stopped him from doing that. So I think that targeting Izzy,
I will say Red's loyal, but he's also not very strategic.
I don't think his loyalty is the problem. I think the problem is that he has such horrible reads and he doesn't seem to understand like the game around him. And I think, getting out Izzy is the move this week. I don't understand why they didn't just go for Izzy here. Because, like, if you're worried that he isn't happy, like, it didn't want, like, Izzy literally was scowling at Cameron. Like, that should be an indication that Izzy does not want you to succeed in this game. Just put Izzy up. Like, I don't understand why he didn't just do that. But, Cory tells America that was the coolest thing ever and that she's a beast, which she says she was freaking out. He asked her if she could beat him, and she says yes. They discuss the deal to keep them safe, which she really appreciates. And he says that she did the right thing. So America says she doesn't regret taking the deal. Her and Cory are safe for the week, but she hopes that it doesn't come back to bite her. So Jared then tells Jag and Blue that every way he tries to cut it, it seems like he doesn't know what they could possibly say. But he's open to ideas, and Jag says they have to figure it out, which Jared says that there really is no choice. And Jag says that things are definitely not going as planned at all. The alliances he's been a part of have sort of imploded, but he survived last week, and now he really has to figure out how to survive this week as well. And Jag tells Cameron he knows things have to happen if he pledges his loyalty. That isn't something he takes lightly. Cameron tells him he would never do anything shifty or dumb or lie to him or be shady. And Cameron says the Jag is the ultimate target for Legend 25. He doesn't think there was any reason to sugarcoat or beat around the bush or any of that nonsense. Let's just get straight to the points. And this conversation is infuriating, let me just say.
Oh, it's so annoying.
Was so annoying to watch. Cameron tells him if he doesn't make the move right now, it'll ostracize both sides of the house, and it'll make the line even deeper if he doesn't do it. Jag asks him who he'll be next to, which Cameron says he probably knows. Cameron tells him he can't stress enough. This is absolutely nothing but the game that's forcing this move. Jag says it seems his mind is already made up, and there's really not any wiggle room for him to not be put on the block, which this is the thing. There literally was. Like, all Jag needed to do is, like, spill the information he had to Cameron. Knows like how good Cirie, Izzy, and Felicia are playing the middle. Like, he knows.
I will say, I feel like Jag is just too nice for the game.
I don't think I mean, kind of.
Like, because sometimes he just doesn't, like, play as hard as he should.
Yeah, I think he just doesn't know how to, like, be really strategic. I think he has information that is really crucial, and I just don't think he wants to, and he just doesn't want to do anything about it, which is so frustrating because I really like watching Jag. I think he is a really fun person to watch. I just wish that he was playing a much better game than he really was, because it's just really frustrating to watch. I think that he's someone that has a lot of potential, but he's just not doing anything with it. And it's just really disappointing. So, yeah, I was really, really pissed off at Jag, but I was also pissed off at Cameron, because the fact that Cameron should have been willing to listen to Jag, should have been willing to say, I'm willing to, when you're HOH, I've said this before, but when you're HOH, you should never just say to someone, yes, I'm putting you up. You should go to them and try to, like, work something out and kind of see, like, if there's a possibility of other options. And then you can kind of think, okay, should I target this person? Did they have a good enough pitch? And I just don't think Cameron does any of that this week. He does really nothing to improve his positioning. And
he doesn't.
on the other hand, again, should have taken this as an opportunity to work with Cameron and try to pull him into something, and he just doesn't do that. So yeah, it's really frustrating to watch all of this play.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so the same thing kind of happens with Blue here, where she congratulates Cameron. He says he doesn't know how else to just be because he's not that guy. And he tells her that this move to him is just a level playing field. Her and Jag go up and fight it out, and whatever happens, happens. And it's never too early for interesting outcomes. And he tells her he's not trying to make it cryptic or riddled because there's so many things that can be done. But Blue tells him if he's feeling so iffy about some people, is he just trying to appeal to them? He tells her it's so early in the game, majority still kind of pulls, and until it comes down to the veto, and then you make some serious, interesting moves. And Blue's very annoyed that Cameron wants to listen to what the majority of the house says. She thought he was better than that. She thought that he was the one that was trying to make big moves, and now suddenly he wants to follow the majority of the house, which I agree with her. Like, he's not willing to like anything here. So
I like that she sees through his shit.
She sees through it, but she also does nothing about it, which is really frustrating. I think if Blue was so, like, worried about what Cameron was doing, she should have tried to, like, sway him in a different direction, and she didn't do that. So yeah, I mean, it also doesn't help that she's, like, so latched on to, like, Jared right now. She'll just, like, do whatever he wants at this point. So Cameron tells Red that they'll be short, that they can get with everybody else, and he is keeping everything the same this week. Of course, keeping everything the same. That's a really smart thing to do, even though you're literally public enemy number one. Let's just keep everything the same. Allie, that's a great idea. Even we're in danger of going, we're just going to keep everything the same. Nothing has to change. This can be a very easy HOH. Like, no, fucking do something. Like, it's
literally do something. Make it interesting. Don't make it boring and predictable.
It's literally so frustrating to watch because it's like Cameron has talked a big game about, like, wanting to make a move, and the opportunity has to do it. He doesn't want to do it. So yeah, just so much could have been done this week, and it just wasn't. So he tells him he told Jag and Blue straight up and to go play and fight. Red asks what the plan is if one of them wins, which Cameron says it's something they should all come together as a group and figure out, even though literally the two of them can control this week easily. But sure, just talk to the larger group about it.
For sure.
Red says being one of the last in their group to learn about Hisam was not a very good feeling at all. Feeling left out of the decision really breeds mistrust amongst their groups, and now because of the mistrust, Izzy's response to Cameron winning is a little bit suspect. It definitely has him thinking. So Red mentions Izzy, which Cameron says he can tell that she's guarded and fake. Red then tells him that they're her least favorite people in the house, and he can see that they just don't click for whatever reason. And when it comes down to it, it gets to Legend 25 having to be disassembled. She would be his first one to go, which, like, yeah, target her now. Like, literally, that should be your answer here. So because she is the least amount of their best interest, Cameron tells him she will never take them past any of the other people she's already aligned with, and they're on the bottom of her trust list, and they're on the top of his list. They hug it out and appreciate each other. Cameron says they could stick with status quo and he could put his trust in Legend 25, or he could just go and blow this whole thing up right now. It's going to happen eventually anyways. He sees Izzy. But then we get to the nomination ceremony, and he nominates Jag and Blue, and he loves them both very much. They're both tremendous, multifaceted competitors, even though they didn't even try to make a deal with him. But sure, they're big threats, I guess, which is why he's given them the opportunity to play in the veto. He wishes them all the best of luck in the world. He looks forward to playing the game that they all love very much. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think this was like the worst possible move he could have made. I don't think anything that Cameron does this week is beneficial for him. I think he absolutely makes himself like a bigger target this week than he already was.
Yeah, he just made like the worst move possible.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even make a move. He just did like, what everyone else wanted. So,
yeah, literally. He's just like, he did the basic move.
Yeah, and like Cameron never really gives any indication why he wants to target the two of them. It just seems like that's what he thought everybody wanted him to do, which should never be your approach with the HOH. Like, yes, sometimes it's good to just kind of do what the house wants, but at this point, when you're in Cameron's spot, like this is your chance to like really start to stake your claim in the house, and Cameron doesn't even try to do that. So Jag says he sees his face appear on the memory wall, and at this point, there's a fire within him. He's ready to fight. He's just excited to play the veto, to give it his all and pull himself off the block. There's really no option here. Blue's pissed off. She hopes that she wins veto, and then she hopes she gets off the block, and she hopes she wins HOH, so she can be the one that kicks his ass back home. Izzy says that this move is pretty basic. She's not surprised Jag and Blue are nominated for eviction. His reason wasn't even a reason for nominating them. She doesn't even think it was grammatically correct. All bark, no bite. But ultimately, she's not that nervous for herself this week, so maybe she should applaud Cameron's HOH week. And Cameron says that he made his nomination.
I will say, I love Izzy's like DR saying like how basic the move was and his reasonings.
Yeah, definitely.
So she does not like him.
I mean, I don't blame her. So Cameron says he made nominations. Jag and Blue are up. He did his part. They pose an interesting threat to Legend 25, but Izzy is on his personal radar. She's scared, and he sees it in her eyes. He might just go ahead and put Izzy up there and see where it fails. Who knows? The options are limitless. And that is how we end this episode. Let's get to episode 12 here.
All right. So getting on to last Wednesday's episode, number 12. Cameron says he nominated Jag and Blue because if roles were reversed, he'd be sitting in those seats. Legend 25 is his troop, and Jag and Blue are the enemy, but if veto happens to get used, he's got a little plan ready to execute his back pocket. Jag says he's not surprised. Cameron put him up. They haven't worked together since week 1, and right now he's part of the 7 Deadly Sins Alliance, and he's not a part of that. So he's going to go out there, win the veto, and take himself off the block, just like he did last week.
And again, the 7 Deadly Sins Alliance is a thing. Fucking out it to Cameron, and he could actually do something here. Like, it's just so frustrating that, like, he doesn't do anything with this information.
Ugh, I know. Blue says Cameron had the audacity to put up her bestie Jag and herself, put up on the block together, and y'all know her. She's a spicy bitch, so she will not go down without a fight.
Sure. Even though she does literally nothing to save herself this week, but sure.
Yeah. Cirie says this is falling right into plan for her. Thank God they created the fake Legend 25 alliance before Cameron won HOH. With the current nominations, it seems like Cameron is sticking through to the alliance, but she doesn't trust him, so she still can't breathe easy this week. Jared is comforting Blue and tells her he can't have her leave, which she says it's too early. She tells him it makes her upset that her friend is on the block with her, but she says best case scenario is Jared plays, wins and takes her down. But the worst case scenario, which he hates to say, is if Jag wins. She wants him to win, though. Blue says she loves Jag, but the worst case scenario would be if he won the veto, and then Cameron would put Jared up. She would be on the block with their showmance. In a perfect world, Jared would win veto, take her down, keep himself safe, and somehow they could figure out how to keep Jag in this house. Jared says with Blue on the block, he just wants to do whatever he can to wrap his arms around her and protect her. He really wants to get picked for this veto so he can get out there and take her down, and more than anything, he wants to make a statement towards Cameron just so he understands that if he takes a shot at him or anybody he's close with, he's definitely gonna be returning fire. Blue tells Jared she wants to stay another week, win HOH, and send that bitch home, and that he pisses her off, which Jared agrees with. Cory says at the end of the pressure cooker, America and Cameron struck a deal. And America's deal was not just to protect her for the entire week, but to keep him from the block as well, which he loves. She was there for him and he really appreciates it. She's also someone who's just really fun to hang out with, so he thinks she's going to tell her a secret of his. So America says her head is racing. She's thinking he's a secret genius. Cory tells America his brother was on Survivor, who got 17th place and voted out first, and she tells him he's already doing better than him, which was cute.
Yeah, I thought this was great that he just finally told somebody about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
Cory says his brother Zach was not a legend of Survivor, but he is hiding it because it could be really useful to him, because down the line, sharing that information might ingratiate himself with the other house guests, and which is exactly what he's doing right there with America.
Yeah, and I mean, I think what's smart about what he's doing here is that there are, America's someone who has watched Survivor and Big Brother, like, religiously. She's basically one of us. Like, she's seen every episode. She has studied it. She makes references to it. Hell, literally this week, she was talking about how she thought she was in a great spot and then said that she was acting like a Mira. So, like, she knows her shit. She knows what she's talking about.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So I think that this was really smart of Cory to like share this with her and, other people that know Zach and things like that. This could be like a really good, like bonding, thing for him. I also love that they put a picture of Zach in the show and Zach then goes on Twitter and said he was in the episode.
That was so funny. I love that so much.
And if you go on Zach's Twitter now, he literally has this exact episode in like his bio as like an appearance of his.
Oh, it's so good. It's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We love the Wurtenbergers.
Oh, yeah. America says Cory has told her his big secret. It's nothing crazy, but she thinks she owes it to him to tell her her big secret. He asks what she majors in when she says biology, and she graduated from Brown. He tells her she's the secret genius of the season, which she says it's not a big deal and doesn't change anything, and she hasn't been acting dumb. Cory says he's not surprised because she's extremely intelligent, which makes total sense. He opened up to her, and in return, she opened up to him. That means this is somebody he can trust and someone he wants to go really deep in this game with. Yes. Cameron tells Red right now it feels like a solid group of people about Legend 25. They agree it's a cool-ass name. Cameron tells them they gotta figure something out because they're gonna have to fight them eventually. He tells Red there's a little love triangle, but he doesn't know where it falls. But Cirie is Izzy's final two, or Felicia might be Cirie's, Cirie might be Felicia's. He also tells him if they take it down to the middle game, they're gonna pick them apart since they're true to each other. Red tells him they're just planning ahead, which Cameron says they're playing a whole game. Cameron says even though he's in an alliance with Cirie, Felicia, and Izzy, it's been pretty clear since about day 2 or 3 they're pretty tight and have a bond and they're not going to turn on each other. So him and Red both understand moving forward it wouldn't be very sharp of them to not begin considering how this is going to affect them down the road.
Again, they keep saying, like, how this is going to affect us down the road. How are we going to do this in a couple weeks? And it's like, you might not even be here in a couple weeks. Like, just take the shot now. I don't understand this.
Oh, I know.
It's so frustrating.
Red asks him what they're going to do if one of them wins veto. Cameron tells him he thinks Izzy has the opportunity to win a couple things down the road, and she would do something reckless, so he wants to use her as a replacement nominee. Red tells them he wouldn't be mad, and that he should have heard the inflection in her voice when she came in to tell him that he won. So we get a flashback of Izzy telling Red his boy did it, which she was less than thrilled. Cameron tells Red he can't have somebody on his own team not happy that someone from the team won. Red tells him it's problematic, which Cameron says she's much more of a problem to him than either of the two people sitting on the bench right now. So Cameron says Legend 25 has got Cirie as the president, Felicia as the vice president, and Izzy as the secretary of defense. She's the one that concerns him the most. So if Jag or Blue come off the block, they might need to throw Izzy B up there before she stings both of them. And Red tells him it's an option if something goes bad, and that she would turn the guns inside and put them both up. Jag tells everyone his punishment is now over. He says he's been cockadoodle zoom for all week, and he's shedding everywhere. He barely has any feathers left. It's hot and uncomfortable, and he's ready to be done with it. And then we get another.
Shocked it lasted like as shortly as it did. I thought it was gonna at least last like a week.
I know. I wish
it was like really quick.
It was. We then get another segment of Jared and Blue flirting. Great, wonderful.
Oh yeah, best part.
Jared says he's trying to throw a bait to Blue to see what she catches onto and what he can trust her with. They're getting closer and closer, and as a human, it's hard for him to keep the secret away from her. Eventually, he knows he definitely wants to tell Blue the truth, but his goal is to kind of give her a half-truth and really see what she does with that information. So that maybe later on in the game, he can actually reveal his true secret to her.
And we get, like, probably one of the funniest moments of the season so far.
Oh, it's so funny. Jared tells her maybe he's related to somebody, which she questions it. He says, what if he was related to Mama Felicia? Which Blue questions that's the thing he was so nervous to tell her. She tells him she's over it. Blue asks if they could make a pinky promise, which Jared says if she doesn't believe him, she doesn't believe him.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, I don't understand why he even tried to do this. Like, just if you're gonna even tell her the secret, just tell her the truth at this point. Yeah, like, literally. What is the point of saying that it's Felicia? Like, I don't understand this.
I don't either. Blue says Jared told her a little secret, which was really exciting. She's starting to think that someone there in particular might be related to him this season. His only two options are either Mama Cirie or Mama Felicia. She's leaning towards Mama Cirie because they are state-wise very close. He's from Connecticut, she's from Jersey, and he's mentioned he has family in Jersey. And he's mentioned he's been around like this game show environment, and she was on Survivor 4 times. The puzzles and gears are kind of clicking a little too well in place, but this is Big Brother, so expect the unexpected, and his secret's obviously safe with her.
Yeah, and what pisses me off about this, and I don't think the show did a good enough job of showing this, but, like, Blue has this opportunity now to, like, bond with Felicia or Cirie and, like, get closer with the two of them, knowing that they're tied to, one of them is tied to, like, Jared in that way, and, like, she has this opportunity, and instead she's, like, literally saying that she's gonna, like, target them next. Like, it's so bad. I can't stress enough. Blue and Jag both played this week horribly. They spend so much time, like, in rooms together when they should be, like, campaigning on their own. It's just, it's so frustrating.
Yeah, those two definitely need to, like, work better.
I mean, Cameron tells like they were, but, you know.
Yeah. Cameron tells Matt he's his boy and he wouldn't leave him behind, which he appreciates. Cameron says Matt is in Legend 25, but he wants to have this conversation with him. So they're looking through the same lens. If everything hits the fan in Legend 25, he wants to know he has that level of trust established with Matt and that they're going to be side by side moving through the thing. Cameron tells him he sees the 8 people falling apart at some point because of 3 people being very tight and they are expendable. Cameron says he believes there's a core alliance to the Legend 25 between Cirie, Felicia, and Izzy. He's the bubble wrap being used at their disposal. Whenever they decide they're done with him, they'll squeeze out his last drop and throw him in the trash. He's starting to make some preparations. And then Cameron tells him if it were him, Matt, Red, Bowie, Cory, and America, there's going to be a chance to take a shot at those people. And he knows Matt won't tell anything. But he goes and tells Cirie he's only telling her and he's putting his trust in her, which she says she won't tell. Matt says he wants to let Cirie know about Cameron pitching in a new alliance to him because if this ever got back to her, he wants her to know that she's the one he really wants to work with and really trust. So Matt then tells her Cameron wants himself, Red, Bowie, America, Cory, and himself, which surprises her. Matt tells her it's good because he can find out information since he's riding with her. Cirie says the fact that Cameron's already making additional alliances just makes her even more sketchy about him because that tells her he doesn't believe in this Legend 25 alliance any more than she does. She's not 100% sure that Cameron wouldn't try to backdoor her, Izzy, or Jared. And then Cirie
again, Cameron just does such a bad job all around with this HOH.
Yep. Oh, he's so bad. Like, he won't just take the shot.
Yeah.
Cirie hugs Matt and tells him she's got him and she's never going to say anything. And then Cory tells America he's never seen something like this dynamic on Big Brother, like the super awkward dude and the super not awkward and attractive girl. He tells her it's getting hard for him to deny that he is blushing when he's blushing every time. And that was cute.
Yeah, it was. Unfortunately, unfortunately, Cory this week is not like really in the game. He's kind of checked out, which is not great. But I do really like him and America together, so I'm not going to complain too much.
Oh yeah.
I just hope that this doesn't hurt like either of their games, you know.
I agree. Also, there was like a tweet I saw the other day that like Mimi and Cory were both like annoyed with all the mess and everything.
Yeah.
Which, like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. It's
Izzy
constant.
Izzy tells Cirie, Felicia, and Jared they're under the covers in the swing bed right now. And then America asks Cory if she wants to make it swing when she giggles. Oh, this part is so funny.
Yeah.
Condom Kate.
Oh my God.
Izzy tells them she was nowhere to be found under those covers and asks if they should throw some condoms in there. And then Izzy says they all know Cory and America are having a little snuggle sesh, and she thought it would be a funny prank to maybe just leave safety socks for them. Izzy, Felicia, Cirie, Jared, and Blue are just looking at each other like somebody used them since they're gone. Felicia says somebody used them, which means there's some stuff going on. She's trying to be Perry Mason in the house because they got some paraphyletics missing. Somebody knows what's happened to them. They can't just walk out the door in the storage room. Everybody in the Big Brother house is looking for some protection, whether it's the veto or condoms. Oh, that was so funny.
That's great.
Cirie says she doesn't want to know, while Jared says by no means he knows where those things are.
That's great.
Oh, that was so good. It's time to pick players for the veto comp. Cameron obviously wants Red to play. His final two. They're the chillers. If he wins it, they can decide what to do with it down the road. He draws first, picks house guest choice. No surprise, he chooses Red. And then Blue says she would love if Jared could fight for her and knows he will give it 110% to make sure she's safe. And then she draws next and picks Jared. And then Jag says he's hoping to pick someone from his 7 Deadly Sins alliance so they can take him off the block, but he draws and picks Mecole.
Yes.
Which she just said she wants to keep him the same.
Yeah.
And then Cirie says if Jared were to win the veto, she will do everything in her power to ensure he left those nominations the same. She doesn't want any of those chairs opening up for Felicia, Izzy, or herself, especially with Cameron naming the replacement Ani.
And once again, like, Jag does nothing to try to like get Mimi to like potentially use it or try to get her on his good side. Like, there's so much more he could have done this week, and it's just so frustrating.
Yeah. Literally, like, most of them are not playing that well.
No, I think barely anybody played well this week, to be honest.
No. I will say, like, there's people who are like good at times, but I don't think anyone in the house is playing well.
No, I don't think so.
Even Cirie has flaws, and I love her.
Yeah.
It's time for the veto comp. It's about the Temple of Power, which is in the BB comic verse, where the spirit of adventure always guides the way. But if they want to discover the secret exit to this temple, they're going to need to balance the artifacts that lie within it. Before them is an ancient riddle. The goal of the game is to balance all of the artifacts on the 5 pillars to illuminate the hidden clue on the wall, which will allow them to solve the riddle. To begin, push the button to start their time, then race to stack 2 artifacts on top of each pillar. Once the 2 artifacts are stacked, the red line must be flush with the pillar's surface. But the challenge is that some artifacts weigh more than others, so only the right combination of artifacts will correctly balance each pillar. Once they believe they have all of the artifacts stacked on the pillar correctly, hit their button. If they're correct, beams of light will illuminate 6 distinct letters on the wall behind them. They must then use the letter tiles inside the treasure chest to unscramble the word and solve the riddle. Once they believe they have successfully solved the riddle, hit their button to lock in their time. If they're correct, the passageway for their escape will be revealed. If they're incorrect, try again. The house guest who unlocks the treasure chest and solves the riddle in the fastest time will win the Golden Power veto. As they can see, a previous adventurer already solved one of the pillars, but it's up to them to solve the rest. It's called Artifact Stack. I actually like this challenge.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was definitely fun. Like, it gives like very museum vibes, which I love museums.
Yeah.
And then again, they only end up showing the top 3 times for some reason.
Yeah, this time especially was weird. I don't know why they didn't show like Jared and Mecole's.
Yeah, and Blue.
Yeah.
3rd place, 318 was Cameron. 2nd place, 241 was Jag. So 1st place with 220 is Red, which means Red has won the power of veto. But I feel so bad. Like, Jag was so close.
Yeah. He almost had it. But, I mean, literally Red and Cameron have all the power this week, and you would think with that, like, they'd want to make some kind of move here. But, well, we'll talk about that.
Definitely. Ugh. Frustrating. Red says, for those of y'all that underestimated him, he told y'all he was going to get it. The chillers are set up. He's coming for that 750K. Jag tells Blue they
whatever you say.
Sure. Jag tells Blue they cooked them fair and square with HOH and veto back to back. Blue asks him how they want to go about this week. He tells her they have to advocate for themselves, which she says there's no way she's going to mess him up in any way, which he agrees. Blue says Jag is definitely her best friend in the house. He's someone that makes her laugh the hardest, someone she could connect with. She's really hopeful that both of them can manage to stay there somehow. But Red tells Cameron he's stoked for all the power in the house. So Cameron says the chillers have all the power this week. He made the noms. Red won the veto. Between the two of them, they can make some pretty interesting decisions right now. They could either keep noms the same and keep the plan on track with Legend 25, or they could take one of them down and shake this house up uncontrollably, which they should have. That'd be interesting. That would have been spicy.
Oh yeah.
Cameron tells Red he's not one to just pull the trigger so soon just to pull it, but what she says he means to try to backdoor Izzy. Red tells him he doesn't trust Izzy because she doesn't have their best interest in mind, and Cameron tells him if they get her out of there, they open up a lot of roads, but it would be one hell of a move, which Red agrees. It's time for the veto ceremony, and he ends up not using it. He feels it's best to keep the wishes of the HOH honored and let the house decide to rest.
Oh my God.
Jag says Red doesn't use the veto, which isn't a surprise there. It's clear him and Cameron see him as a threat in this game. He really wishes he didn't have to be on the block next to Blue, but now all he can do is fight for himself, and that's exactly what he's going to do. And when he stays, he's going to unleash the Terminator. Blue says she hates that she's still on the block, and to make the matter worse, she's on the block with her closest ally, Jag, so regardless of the situation, one of them is going home. She will not be campaigning against him, but don't get it twisted. She will be fighting for her spot in the house.
Sure.
Cameron says it was way too early to blow up Legend 25. He'd much rather keep them all together because he doesn't get to compete in the next HOH comp. So he needs somebody protecting him. Hopefully they know now that since they kept everything the same, that he's a pretty solid person to have on their team. And then Cirie says Cameron and Red probably think this move is going to keep them in the good graces of Legend 25, but if anyone that's close to her or herself wins HOH, Cameron and Red will be in those two nomination seats so fast it'll make their head spin. And that is how that is how it ends.
It's so frustrating. However, Thursday's episode I thought was pretty spicy. The way
I love Thursdays. It was so good.
Yeah, this was definitely one of the best episodes of the season so far. It starts off, Red says that he decided not to use the veto this week because he wanted to keep this simple for Cameron. He's his boy, and he doesn't want to have to make the hard decision of choosing another nominee. So they both agree that Jag is the one that needs to be evicted this week. Jag says that being on the block against Blue just really sucks. There's no way around it. He would have loved to go really far in this game with her, and at this point, he has to look out for himself and campaign so he can stay in the house. Izzy then talks about how she's in two big alliances right now. One of them is fake, which is called Legend 25, which, we know why that's going on. And she's also in a slightly realer alliance called Seven Deadly Sins, which we also know about. So Cameron said that Red didn't use the veto. So Legend Locomotive is right on track. 2 days ago, Legend 25 decided that Jag was the target this week. Which again, just because your alliance says who needs to be the target doesn't mean that person has to be the target. That's your opportunity to be like, well, I don't want that person to go. Let's try to change it up. There's so much more that could have been done this week, and it's just so frustrating. And even though they keep talking about Legend 25, they don't even go to Legend 25 to talk to them about these nominations. So
just this little flashback, and that was it.
So frustrating. So Cameron says with nominations saying the same, the plan is in motion. Blue says that being on the block with her bestie Jag is definitely one of the hardest things she's had to experience in the house, but shortly after the veto comp, Cameron did reassure that she's good and she's not the target this week. And Blue does absolutely nothing to campaign after that, which listen, even though he says that, it's out of his hands. anyone could flip this vote at any time, especially with how this house is and how things are always changing on a dime and things like that. I mean, she really should have taken more time to try to campaign here, that she really should have taken more time to try to, improve her spot. And she just doesn't do that. So just very disappointing all around. So Jag tells Cirie and Izzy that he trusts them 100%. Jag says with him and Blue, both in the Seven Deadly Sins Alliance, he needs to convince them that he's the better ally to keep in the game. Jag then tells them that he knows he's the target, which Cirie tells him they want them to vote for him. She tells him that they'll be scared that he's going to beat them in the comps, which Izzy agrees. Matt then walks in and Jag tells them he'd love for them to vote to keep him. He says a lot of this week is his trust in his team, and they are his team. He tells them, of course, he'll chat with everyone, but he will not say anything that hurts this team, which Cirie appreciates. And when Jag leaves the room, Cirie tells Izzy and Matt that they have the votes to do whatever they want. She asks if it's the right thing to do to let Jag go because they want him gone. Felicia walks in and Izzy mentions that she's willing to take the shot to keep Jag this week as of right now. Something that they don't show enough of, I think, is, they do show it a little bit later on, but from the beginning, Cirie did not want Jag to go. She wanted Blue to go this week because she's wary about Blue and Jared's connection, and she's worried that that's going to kind of make Jared like lose focus in the game, which is completely understandable. But I don't think they showed enough this week, like just how much she was trying to make that happen, how much she wanted Blue to go and things like that, which I will say, I don't think is the greatest move for Cirie. I think that, just kind of let Jag go at that point. I think she should take that opportunity to try to work closer with Blue. But she really wanted Blue to go this week, and I don't think they showed enough of that here. So, Cirie says that ever since they found out Cameron and Red are working behind the scenes to form other alliances, keeping Jag is looking better and better for them. Basically, I skipped like a ton of shit here. So Jag tells them he knows he's a target, which Cirie tells him they want them to vote for. She tells him that basically that they'll be scared that he's going to beat them in the comps, which Izzy agrees. I just read this. So basically, Izzy tells them it keeps someone strong for them who will continue to fight and will continue to be a big target for them. Felicia then lets them know she's all in for a big damn move. They discuss their votes plus Jared and Mimi, which is 6. Cirie then says they know that the best move for them is to keep Jag, but she's just dreading having to talk to Jared and tells him that they want to vote out Blue. She's not really sure how receptive that he's going to be to that. So she tells Jared that this is only between them, and she says that Blue might go home and mentions that Red doesn't know, only her, Izzy, Felicia, Matt, and himself in order to keep Jag. Jared asks her if they want him to vote against her, which she says yes, but she won't know. It could be Cory, America, or Matt. And he asks why Blue, and she says that they don't trust her and they feel like they can trust Jag. Jared tells her it's not good for him since she's his +1 and says it's like him taking away Izzy. And Cirie tells him that Jag is going to be internally grateful and she needs this one. And she lets him know that they told her not to tell him, but he knows that she has him and that she'll tell him everything and doesn't care what they say. So Jared says that also makes him not trust them either, which Cirie says they're not doing anything against him. They just need him to vote with them, which he gets. But he's really confused how they're going to get him to vote with them and not tell him. And she lets him know that they want to tell him, but they want to wait, which he says that they lost his trust. And Cirie then asks if Izzy can never lose his trust, and she kept his trust with the biggest secret from day one. And Jared is very uncomfortable having this conversation that took place without him being a part of it. He's not going to play this game being told what to do at all, whether it's by his mom or a close ally. His mom is definitely a legend, but at the end of the day, he's there to make his own path and his own decisions and be one of the greatest also. And here's the thing, honestly, Jared, maybe you should just play the game that way because you're not really doing a great job like on your own. Like the show doesn't show this enough, but anytime Jared like goes rogue, he's terrible at the game. Like
he honestly like needs his mom.
Yeah, like I've said this and like I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think Jared needs Cirie more than Cirie needs Jared. Like Cirie is fine on her own. Jared without Cirie would be just like he'd be gone. He would.
He probably would have been like gone first.
I don't think he'd be gone first. I think he'd be gone pre-jury though for sure. So
yeah,
I understand why he doesn't want Blue to go, but I feel like him and Cirie could like kind of just like talk this out, and it doesn't. They're not going to. So I do think that I agree with him that like Cirie shouldn't control his game and things like that. But it's not like Jared's doing a great job on his own anyway. So maybe he should just like have Cirie do that. So anyway, Cirie tells him to not act differently like he knows anything because they'll know, which he won't. But he was fully focused on making sure that group is safe. But that's done for him, which Cirie thinks is crazy. And Cirie says the fact that Jared is not on board with the vote to keep Jag throws a monkey wrench in the whole thing. Like they're not going to go around the house campaigning for one vote. It's just not smart. And without Jared's vote, she can't really see a way to save Jag. So it seems like at this point, pretty much a done deal. Jag will not be saved. But there's a bit of a wrinkle here, and that is in the form of this power that they haven't really talked about till now, but the BB power of invincibility. Red reads the transmission, kind of telling them what it's all going to be and what's really going on there. And Jag, basically one at a time, they're going to enter the Temple of Power to find out if America has chosen them to compete in the competition. Once again, not the player. So Jag says that this is huge. He's on the block next to his ally. He doesn't know if he can take himself off the block and protect Blue as well. The possibilities are endless, so he's hoping this power falls into the right hands, and especially his, so he can make it out safe this week. And Cameron says his mind is racing all over the place. He's confused what this power could be, if it could be anything. His nominations could be changed. Someone could cancel a vote. The options are endless, so a possibility this doesn't go his way. So America goes first, and she's ready to play and whip in a fedora. She reads a card that America hasn't selected her to compete. We get this great moment for her where she's like, how can America not vote for me? My name is America. I thought that was a great moment from her.
Oh, that was hilarious. I love that quote so much.
Yeah. So Bowie was not picked. Cameron isn't picked either. And then Cirie.
I will say it was funny when Cameron's like, he doesn't blame them.
Yeah.
That was actually probably his funniest moment in the game.
Yeah. So Cirie reads that America has selected her.
I'm just gonna get my dinner.
Go ahead. So Cirie reads that America has selected her to compete. No surprise. I think we all were pretty much thinking Cirie was going to be one of the people in the running for this. If she wants to earn this game-changing superpower, she's going to have to conquer the power path. She reads that they have to hit their button to start their time and place an orb on the tilting pathway and use the handles to then maneuver the path to guide their orb to the chalice at the end. But be careful, the power path is no walk in the park. And if their orb falls off, grab another orb and start over. The house guest who lands their orb in the chalice and hits their button in the fastest time will win the secret superpower. It's basically the one where they have to like slide something down. They've done this before. I think they did this for like what was it? The high rollers room and like Big Brother 23. It's very similar to that comp with like the sliding thing. So Cirie says she's flattered that it makes her a little bit emotional that America would give her a gift that's so important. She doesn't know what the superpower is. All she knows is that she wants to win it so badly because a superpower is something that could be game-changing. I said it before. I think we kind of knew Cirie was going to be one of the people eligible for this.
So
I don't think this was too surprising. Wasn't too surprised by the next one.
I will say, though, I'm kind of surprised America didn't get it.
Yeah, I was too. I was surprised by one of them for sure, which we'll talk about. But Cory also was selected to compete. No surprise there. He thinks he's in a really good spot. He loves that he's won both America's heart and also America's heart. That was funny too. Yeah, that was a funny moment. Felicia was not selected, which I was surprised that Felicia was not someone that was selected for that. I feel like everyone loves Felicia, as did Izzy, Jared, Mimi, and Red. Which Red says he still loves them humans. Matt also has been selected to compete. He says this isn't his first time competing and representing America. Which I will say, Matt is glad that this was not a thing that was chosen this week because I don't think he would have been chosen if that was the case.
Yeah, agreed.
So, yeah, he's glad he gets to do it again right now. And now he feels extremely honored that he was voted for this, but he absolutely wants this power. And this can really help set the tone moving forward. And then probably the most shocking to me, Blue also is selected to compete here. America knows she needs their help.
No, she's not. She's not. No, she's not.
Oh, I thought Blue was the other person selected.
No, the other one was Jag.
Oh, okay. So she goes in the Temple of Power and she's ready to compete. America knows that she needs their help so she can keep her pretty little face in this house. She then reads that America hasn't selected her. And then Jag is the last person that is selected here. He's very excited and stoked.
I'm not shocked about Jag because I know people wanted him on Twitter.
Yeah, a lot of people really love Jag. So he's really hoping to win this competition. And then we get to the results here. So with a time of 12 minutes, Cirie has not won the superpower, as did Cory with a time of 53 seconds. Jag has a time of minutes and 15 seconds. So it comes down to Cory, and that means with a time of 45 seconds, Matt has won the competition and has a game-changing superpower, which is called the BB power of invincibility. He reads that he may save one of the next 2 evicted house guests, including himself. No one in the house knows he has won, so it's up to him if he keeps it a secret or shares it. And I will be honest with you, I did not think this was going to be used. I feel like recently, there's been a lot of powers that have been out there, and they've just kind of gone discarded. And I thought this was going to be like another one of those things that it doesn't happen. So I thought he wasn't.
In a way, I did. I mean, I was also worried it wouldn't be used, but then also I was thinking it could just because he is close to Jag. And Blue too.
Yeah, but it seemed like at least at first like he wasn't going to do it, but we'll get into it. So he says having this power is awesome. He doesn't know what he's going to do with that, but knows that he could save someone this week or next week. He thinks his power could cause a lot of chaos, and everyone's going to be talking and everyone's going to be nervous about what's going to be happening. He's just going to be the one swimming under all that drama. So Jag says he's on the block this week, and at this point, he's going to have to campaign for the votes and see what he can do, see if he can survive there another week. And Matt says that he has the power of invincibility. He's unsure what to really do with it, and he thinks that he wants to tell Cirie. He knows that she's played Survivor multiple times, so he thinks that she's an expert at these kind of things and will buy a lot of trust with her. And I thought Matt handled this really well, like recognizing that Cirie is somebody that was probably in the running for this, and he should try to bond with her. I thought this was really good for him. He tells Cirie he won the superpower, and it lasts 2 weeks, and that it saves someone from eviction. And she says Matt having this power is great, and the fact he feels comfortable with her enough and trusts her enough, she has a whole new outlook on her and Matt can play this game together. So Matt tells her that he doesn't use it this week, he can use it next week, and if one of their people don't win, that's an instant save. So Cirie says Matt has moved up so far up her ladder in her alliances that she wants to protect him, and she would not mind being Final 4 or Final 3 with him because he gained a trust for her by trusting her, and trust is a great commodity to have. And I feel like Matt is going to go like super far now because of the fact that he's like,
I definitely think he's going to make it far, but I mean, he should definitely own that he's made a lot of problematic comments recently.
Oh, yes, but I'm talking about from a gameplay perspective. I think that he probably is making it to like Final 4 at this point.
Oh, definitely.
But we'll see. But yeah, Cirie tells Matt that right now everybody is voting Jag out. Matt tells her that he was hoping the votes would go against Blue, but she lets him know it's not looking like that. And Cirie says with Jared being stubborn and not budging on his vote to keep Jag, that means everyone's going to vote Cameron and Red's way, and Jag then walks out the door. So Matt then tells her if Jag's going home, he can use it to save him, but which means no one goes home and they both stay. But Cameron gets to play HOH, but it cancels the whole week. And Cirie tells him if he doesn't use it, it's just Red. But she asks what he thinks, and he tells her it's so hard because he'll continue to be safe if he doesn't use it the next 2 weeks. But it would be nice to have Jag because he knows he's loyal, which Cirie says he'd fight. And Matt says he's a good player and will help them take out Cameron and Red. Cirie tells him the more she thinks about it, the more she thinks that he should save Jag, which makes sense. She didn't want Jag to go. So, like, this is our opportunity to save Jag here. And he says no one will know he had this power. He's willing to risk it for the Alliance, which Cirie says that Red and Cameron are going to be so mad, and they say everyone will be shocked. So, yeah, we were really just kind of at this point unsure if this was going to be used. I think we were leaning towards this was not going to be used, but we'll talk about what actually happened. So
I will say the pleas are honestly pretty good, both of them.
I disagree. I thought these pleas were kind of terrible.
I mean, okay, I'm not going to say like they were the best, but I wouldn't say they were as bad as some others.
I just thought Blues was very much like, hey, my mom said I should win the game, so therefore you should keep me in the game. Like, not exactly the greatest pitch. She says that I don't know. I just thought that her plea was just about as good as her campaigning has been all week, which is pretty shitty. So yeah, not that great.
Yeah.
Jags wasn't very good either. He sends love to his family, tells a house guest the biggest blessing in the game has been the friendships he's made with all of them. He hopes they vote for him to stay so they continue to share more laughs together and build more memories. And then he says that they all need him there because who else is going to finish all the milk in the house? He thanks them all and loves them.
I will say that milk thing was pretty funny.
It was. I just feel like, again, what's frustrating is that, like, I understand they didn't want to campaign against each other, but you can do that, and you don't have to campaign against someone to show why you're more worthy of staying. I think that one of them really could have stepped up here and been like, listen, I love Blue, but she hasn't campaigned. Jag could have, or Blue could have said the same thing about Jag. Like, there was a lot that could have been done here, and I just felt like these pleas were pretty shitty, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So after another messy, flip-floppy week, we get another unanimous vote of 10-0 with Jag being evicted, but then they get a message. And I will say, the way this played out, not exactly how I expected it to. I thought this was going to be like a halting hex where, like, they go to vote and then the power gets activated. But no, literally, Jag's about to walk out the door, and then all of a sudden they see a transmission from the BB power of invincibility that has been activated. That means the house guest they just voted out is now invincible and cannot be evicted. So he is safe tonight, and his game continues on, and he has another shot at the 750K. And since the superpower was not used and no one left the game tonight, everyone is going to be competing in the HOH comp, including the outgoing HOH. So yeah, Jag is now safe for the week. I was very happy about this.
I'm so happy because I didn't want either of them to go. And like, I was just like so happy because like he's also been one of the people I loved since the beginning, and he was so deserving. Just his kindness is why he was also deserving.
Yeah, I think this was and
I also kind of wanted he was one of the people I wanted to win HOH after this.
Yeah, I think this is his chance to kind of like rebuild and things like that, which we'll get into how he's done. Spoilers, not very well. But right
after this, we can do a little bit of live feed updates or something.
Yeah, I don't think he, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I think in general, this was a really great move. We rarely get to see something like this happen in Big Brother these days, where like someone is just completely just like surprised, and we're also surprised because we didn't know what was going to happen. And I just thought this was really fun to watch, like seeing how it happened, seeing him literally about to walk out the door, and then all of them noticing the transmission. I thought it was very exciting the way that they did it. So I will also say, though, even though Matt used this is Cirie's move, like hands down.
Yeah,
I think that
he told him, but like, or he told her, but like technically he was definitely the main reason that he used it.
Yeah, because I feel like with Cirie, like this is her opportunity to make sure Jag didn't go home this week. She didn't want him to go in the first place, and basically now pretty much wipes her hands clean of this. Nobody's even going to, have to know that she wanted Blue out. And therefore now, we don't have a situation where like Jag goes and Blue stays and then someone spills it to Blue. Like now the game can kind of just continue on. Like this week doesn't matter that much. Cirie's pretty much wiped her hands clean. Jag has stayed, so she still got her way. And I just thought it was a really great move all around. I think it was a very good move for Cirie. And things like that. And as it stands, nothing's really changed since then. I guess we can go a little bit into some spoilers. We're not going to say too much, but Jared's HOH.
Yeah, I will say at one point, I have been reading that like it looks like they might be flipping this vote. Hopefully it stays.
I don't think it's I think it's going to stay on red. I don't think Jag's actually going to go.
I think it's because what I read is that like Felicia or somebody was trying to like keep Jag instead of red. And like I guess they don't want like Cameron and Red and jury, and also and like it would be kind of dumb to get rid of Jag again.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't understand why they would even get rid of Jag right now when they literally just saved him. It feels kind of unnecessary to me because I always say this to people. Pointless. Like the worst argument you can make against somebody for why you shouldn't evict them is, oh, we can just go for them next week. You could literally say that about anybody in the house. Like,
literally. I will
I
say,
don't-
but yeah, like I don't really like when people get just revolving doored. It's just boring.
yeah, I mean, I think especially, well, not only is it boring, especially with this, it's like really unnecessary because it'd be different if Jag like won a competition and then saved himself and then he gets revolving doored. That's okay. But literally,
Yeah,
they just saved him. They made a decision to save him in the game. Like, what is the point of saving Jag if you're just going to evict him this week? So I don't really understand that.
Yep. And also,
I'm hoping.
And according to, and oh, go ahead first.
I'm hoping Red goes. I'm kind of sick of him and Cameron. I don't want to see their like duo anymore. I'm hoping that's the case.
What I was gonna say is their duo is kind of not really a duo anymore.
Yeah, well, we'll see if that sticks.
We'll see, but
I mean, right now, yeah, I think as long as they don't talk to each other, yeah, it seems like they've pretty much broken up at this point, which I'm very much here for. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this week goes. I hate that Jared is HOH. I really do. I think that
and
if anyone else was...
Yeah, we didn't watch the episode yet, but I apparently heard he barely won by that much.
Yeah, that too, it makes it really funny because like he was talking about he's like this like comp beast and things like that when literally he hasn't even won a comp till now. So yeah, it's actually pretty funny. But it also is that much more annoying because I feel like if anyone else was HOH this week, it'd probably be a lot more exciting. And probably a lot of the shit that is happening would not be happening. Like how people are treating America and things like that. It's disgusting.
That's disgusting. Like some of those men are just being disgusting besides Cory and Jag.
Yeah, literally, those are the only two men that we stand right now in the Big Brother 25 house. But yeah, in general, it's going to be interesting to see how this week plays out. I'm hoping we can get the podcast done earlier this time than we've gotten this one done.
I'm off earlier on Thursday, so we could, if hopefully it's the episode's up for me on Paramount Plus, but we could just do it, and then if we can, in that sense, we could probably just do it Thursday night, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens with that. But anything else you want to plug before we wrap things up here?
Obviously, stay tuned for week 5 of Big Brother and also the last 2 episodes of Claim to Fame.
Yes.
Very excited for that. And then other than that, that's like pretty much it until Survivor and all of our season reviews. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. This was a very long podcast as we assumed that it would be. There's a lot going on.
There's also a reason why it was longer too, because we both kind of left a couple times and stuff.
Yeah, that's probably why. But yeah, other than that, that's it for this very long video talking about weeks 3 and 4 of Big Brother 25. As always, comment down below. Let us know what you guys are thinking of this week overall. Love to your thoughts on it. What do you think is going to happen moving forward? It's going to be interesting to see how it all really does play out. I know some people are starting to sour on this season. I'm not there yet because the people who are in power are very exciting to watch. I'm definitely souring in terms of a lot of the men in the house, but I'm not souring in terms of like the overall season. I think there's still
just keep Jag, so at least one good man is still there besides Cory.
That is definitely a good reasoning for sure. But yeah, other than that, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and remember, couples who podcast together stay together. We will see you guys later.